With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
After 9 weeks of PRL NASCAR doubleheader action, it all comes down to this. A pair of battles in the sunshine at Auto Club Speedway. In the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, we've seen 8 different winners in 9 races, from Hartman to Hunter, Sullivan to Strykars, but it's the only guy who has won more than once, Reese Bogue, coming in with a comfortable 19-point lead. And in the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series, it's winner takes all as Abner Acosta and Elliott White come into this finale separated by one singular point. Welcome to round 10, the season finale in 2023 rather, season 1 for both the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series and the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, live from the virtual Auto Club Speedway. Hi everybody, my name is Joey Tebbin. With me in the booth is Terry Radford. Behind the scenes is our producer Hugo Luis. And it's season finale day, Terry. It's Auto Club for the 2nd season in a row, and both are wide open.
Yeah, and we stuck to this nice bit of we would look pretty decent. So he's got a tie on. I put a bow tie on. Guy sends me a message and it was like, hey, suits? Sure, why not? Championship day, back to the racing thing. The trucks has kind of settled itself. Reese Bogue has to have a catastrophic meltdown. He has to have like a Britney Spears 2008 moment to kind of fall off the bridge and shave his head. He has to finish last. Abner, Elliott White, it's anybody's game. Abner has the luck. Elliott has the fun. What?
One singular point.
1 point. I thought you were telling me to hush. This is my monologue. You get yours, I get mine.
All right, now shut up, Terry. Hush. But anyway, it is time to look at those precious little numbers, because it's more than one. It's not just one for Reese Bogue. It is 19 points, as I mentioned, at the head of the championship over Alan Dice. But Alan Dice is still in contention, and technically, because we do have a little bit bigger of a field tonight, we've got 26 trucks out there. Dallas Sullivan and Steve Loving have mathematically put themselves back in contention. Now, both of them basically need Reese Bogue to finish dead last, so they're hoping for the catastrophe for him. Alan Dice, it's more possible for him. If Reese Bogue finishes outside the top 10 and Alan Dice wins, Dice can win the championship. But Bogue's only goal is finish in the top 10, and then he's guaranteed to win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, Bogue's been the guy. Bogue was fast in practice. Dice was kind of there. I mean, that loaded dice racing team's been good all season long, but Reese Bogue has just been at a level of his own.
It's the only guy who's won 2 races this season. As I mentioned, won the season opener and then won a couple of weeks later as well. In the team's championship, though, it hasn't been quite the same luck for Regan Bogue Motorsports. Reese Bogue's been picking up a lot of points. Colton Easterday, unfortunately, has been plagued by technical issues and other incidents, so Regan Bogue Motorsports will be looking to next season for a little bit more of an effort at the team's championship. But Loaded Dice Racing, they have well and truly clinched the team's championship thanks to wins from Dallas Sullivan and Alan Dice as well. Thomas Brendel's picked up some good points for them in places as well. Love Racing are comfortable in second, and Team DDI Motorsports are also stuck in third. So there's not going to be much movement in the team's championship after tonight. Bull Creek Racing is fourth. Whataback Speedworks could beat Regenboog Motorsports to that last spot in the top 5 if they're lucky. Then it's Consult Info, DDI Every Day, the Gold Octopus, and Whataback Racing rounding out the top 10 in the team standings. Qualifying is currently underway, but for the final time this season, we've got to thank all the people who make all of this possible. And of course, as always, first and foremost is the virtual competition organization, the VCO, helping us out here at RaceSpotTV and helping make every single Precision Racing League broadcast possible this season and every season. This coverage is also brought to you by Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. And from Advanced Sim Racing, it's Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and also get a 5% discount, also using the Precision5 coupon code. And from Racebox, we transfer over to RaceLab. It's RaceLab apps, and they help you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays and race statistics and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using now for free at racelab.app. This coverage is also brought to you by The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products provide an incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with The Butt Kicker. And for the final week, new for this season, it's Mechasim Hardware. Mechasim Hardware is a small company from the Czech Republic, and their goal is to produce high-quality sim racing hardware. If you're looking for a high-end pedal set, handbrake, or sequential shifter, visit Mechasim Hardware's eShop right now to get you up to speed and check them out. And new in the past couple of weeks is Moradness. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. And last but not least, NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Of course you are. Sporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. For the final time this season, it is time to see how the drivers track their own performances in qualifying. Once again, Matthew Karakoff has managed to show his pace in qualifying. He's come so close to winning races this season. He's had a ton of bad luck, though. Could this finally be the week that Matt Karakoff turns it all around and gets his first win? And actually, as well, this makes Matt Karakoff only the second driver to get multiple pole positions this season. Aren Gamushtal was on pole twice. Matt Karakoff joins him in the very, very Paris, if that's a word, field in the Truck Series. Alan Dice, he needs a great result here to win this championship. He starts second. Kevin McGarvey back in the field makes up row 2 with Keith Miller. Reese Bogue just needs to finish in the top 10 tonight to win the championship. He starts alongside Zach Panzarella for DDI Motorsports. And it's Steve Loving technically in contention on row number 4 alongside Robert Goff. Paul Crumry starts alongside the other Loaded Dice Racing driver who's technically in contention, Dallas Sullivan. Then it's Dylan Schmidt and Chris Justice bring us down to row number 6. Dalton Geyer unlucky 13th alongside Ricky Barbary. Tom Amasi qualifies 15th alongside last week's winner at Daytona, Austin Hunter. Thomas Brendel, the third of the Loaded Dices, starts alongside Jeremy Bailey on row 9. Then 19th, Garrett Austin alongside the returning Cole Larson. Oliver Goff starts 21st alongside Jacob Emery. Then Patrick Cowgill and Richard Pruitt make up row number 12. No qualifying lap times from them. CM Punk Pennington and Colton Easterday as well start from the back of the field. I believe there were a few penalties there. Definitely one of them for CM Pennington. I'm going to check to be exact. It was CM Pennington and Patrick Cowgill who were disallowed from qualifying. The other two just simply elected not to. But we are gridded up here at Auto Club. We are ready to go again. And for Auto Club standards, it's a pretty cool day.
Yeah, it's not as hot as it should be or could be. 80-degree track temp. Not a bad track temperature. for the 25th of February at 4:36 Eastern time in Sim. So I'm not going to lie to you. I think this is going to be the best race of the season. And with Reese kind of sitting in that 5th place position, trouble could be early right there. Everybody's going to want to go bonsai in there. You got Steve, who's aggressive back there in 7th. It's going to be able to peek to the inside of him. I think they all know that the only way somebody else wins this championship than Reese is he can't finish in the top 10.
Reese's teammate Colton Easterday told us that he actually just bought this track 2 hours ago, and he's inexperienced at this track now, but there's still a good amount of drivers who don't have the most experience in the trucks after 10 weeks this season, and especially not at this track. But there's definitely some unique challenges. This place is not just a Michigan clone. This is not just full throttle all the way around. It's pretty tough to get a truck around this place cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, you have to lift. You have to just let it sit, let it float. You can hit the brake just a little bit to get it slowed down pretty easily in these trucks. Let the back end kick and then get back on the gas to get a straight exit off. This is going to be really, really, really fun. By the way, that Colton Easterday guy, I hear he applied for the open spots here at RaceSpot to potentially come up here and sing the entire race.
He did promise us last week that he would do some musical theater for us if he finished in the top 3. We had to find some royalty-free music, so we'll see if he can pull off the miracle from the back of the field. But Matthew Karikoff starts from the head of the field after losing last week at Daytona on a technicality of when the caution come out. He's on a revenge tour. Alan Dice needs to beat Reese Bogue to this championship. It's all kicking off at Fontana, and we're green for the final time in the trucks this season. Clean all throughout the field. A little bit of dust kicked up off of turn 4. There was some 4 wide coming off of 4 as well, but it's Matt Karikoff hanging on up front as Keith Miller tries to steal 3rd from Kevin McGarvey.
Yeah, and Bogue fell back from 4th to 6th here. I thought early issues for him. He had a run. He actually had a better restart or a better start than Steve Loving. He just didn't get through 1 very well. He's kind of got a little bobble right there. Maybe he's just saving his tires, not wanting to push him too hard. He knows it's going to be a long-paced race. And if we don't get a green flag run and it's just caution after caution after caution, he might be in trouble. Might have to push that thing harder than he wants.
Alan Dice and Matt Karikoff both going for very, very different lines at this place, but we know off of turn 4 at Fontana, these trucks like to get very, very, very loose. We haven't seen much of that yet, but we're definitely going to see that later on tonight, as most drivers seem to be electing to go to the top early on. Keith Miller ripping it as high as he can go.
Yeah, you have to want to be there. You have to commit yourself to that spot. You can't just go up there anytime you feel like it. You have to commit yourself to it. You're going to go out there. It's a whole lot looser to drive that outside than what most people think. It's good on saving the tires in this truck. This truck lets you carry a lot of momentum on that outside lane. The bottom tears the tires up very easy, but that high lane, you're on the verge every single lap of smacking the wall, especially when we get 15, 20, 30 laps on these sets of tires. You're not going to want to do it no more, and you see Steve Loving right there going to 3rd. He has to be careful not to slide those tires. If you get them too high, you get slidey off the exit of the corner, and you'll have no drive off whatsoever.
When Steve Loving wants to be aggressive, he can definitely be aggressive, and that's exactly what he needs to do tonight. If he doesn't win this race, he's not winning the championship. He's got very long odds to begin with, so he's not likely to win the championship, but if he can win and things go catastrophically wrong for Reese Bogue, there's a 33-point gap between Steve Loving and the championship leader. With the way the points work in the PRL, it gets very complicated because a win gets you 42 points technically, but it can get you far more because the winner gets 5 extra points. Technically, the winner gets 47 points then. There's also a point for fastest lap, for leading a lap, for leading the most laps, for pole position. It's a whole bunch of complicated stuff, but the easiest thing to do is just to take the lead like Alan Dice is trying to do.
So what you're saying is I get to break out my favorite wrestling promo of all time, is you got a 33 and a third chance of winning the championship if you win the race. Oh, he threw me the wall. There's Dice.
Together, Dice was not clear off of turn 4. Karakov takes to the grass, and Alan Dice comes off with heavy damage from the lead.
Well, that's one way to get the championship lead, is to, wreck, clear yourself. That eliminates Alan Dice. There's one elimination because there's no way with the damage he's going to have to that right side of that truck that he's going to be able to come up here and actually put some lap times down in the 5 machine. Karakov was not in the championship fight, but now Karakov's race is over, and now we're looking at a total different landscape because it's going to be a battle between, technically, if Sullivan gets up there and races with it, Sullivan, Loving, and Bogue.
Sullivan and Loving, they're basically only in it if and when RaceSpo gets horrifically wrecked and ends up multiple laps down. So that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping that RaceSpo gets into a little bit of trouble, or they can force him into a little bit of trouble themselves. But suddenly, with the top 2 erased, Dice and Karakov were running away from the field a little bit. They were in a field of their own, but they've taken each other out, and suddenly Steve Loving is very comfortable at the head of this field.
Yeah, and I'm not throwing the idea at the 46, but if you want the shot to win, you're right there, right? I mean, you're right on his back bumper. It's very easy to get these things loose. You get up on the back bumper, kind of give it a little bit of a kiss like you would at Daytona or Talladega, take the air off of it. Maybe when he's hitting the apron right there, you kind of force him into a spot he doesn't want to be in, throwing the idea at him. If you want to win the championship that bad, that's your opportunity.
Steve Loving had about a moment to be comfortable in the lead, and Kevin McGarvey has ended that moment as he's brought the gap down, and suddenly it becomes a 2-truck fight for the lead, maybe even a 3-truck fight for the lead as Keith Miller is on the scene, rather. And right behind him, it's Paul Crumry, another one of those drivers who's so strong on the short run, especially at the intermediate to 2-mile-long tracks. The lead pack is growing, and Steve Loving doesn't want that.
Well, it's gonna grow. I think Steve might have drove her a little hard right there, and you look at the lap times. I mean, Lovin and McGarvey are both sitting at 41.8s. You look at Keith Miller and Dallas Sullivan; they were sitting back there side drafting off of each other. They're running 41.6s. So, I mean, you look at the replay right here with Matt Karakov, just not clear. He was just in the gas, ready to go, and he just... the spotter says not clear, not clear. Outside, still there. Whether or not you listen to him or not, it's totally up to you. But that's just a little early to try to clear yourself.
Yeah, Alan Dice is still out there on track, but the damage is quite heavy. He's now fallen out of the top 16 as Ricky Barbary has gotten by him. There's still 33 minutes of racing to go, and anything can happen. We've seen crazy things happen. We saw Austin Hunter get a crazy win at Daytona last week with the big one, but that is a very, very heavy blow to Alan Dice's championship chances here.
Yeah, he didn't have very good chances to begin with coming in here because the 4 is on the track. I mean, yeah, we had 26 drivers come in to race, but he wasn't like what we are going to see in the Xfinity series, where it's a 1-point gap sitting between R2 right now, Abner and Elliott White. I mean, this was a long shot night for a lot of people to go out here, throw it all on the table, hope that something happens to that 4 machine. If it doesn't, well, you gave it your best effort. Like, you need bad luck to happen to the 4, and you need to go up there and show that you can win. Right now, Steve Loving's doing that. Dallas Sullivan's ahead of Reese Bogue. They just have to hope that somebody comes up here, maybe a lap truck, or maybe Bogue does something crazy on pit road and just doesn't have the win in him.
Now that the championship battle is kind of out of the conversation, this does become a battle of who could be the next driver to put their name at the head of the field. It could be Steve Loving, like you said. He could get his 2nd win of the season. But maybe Keith Miller says, I want to make it 9 winners in 10 races, or Kevin McGarvey or Paul Crumry or even Panzarella or Cowgill. There's so many drivers who have yet to win races this season who have shown so much speed. Now that RaceSpoT is kind of in conservative mode, he doesn't want to be racing for anything that's too aggressive. It's a chance for a lot of drivers to show their stuff.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned Patrick Cowgill's name as a 31 machine, because I watched him climb this leaderboard in only 12 laps, and I would imagine that he's got a really fast short run truck because of the way he had to drive it to get to the front, to get up here where he's at. He's starting to fall off a little bit there, almost wrecked him and Tamamasi, but you get this opportunity if we get a short run, if this becomes a caution bender, and we see what this track of the raciness can cause issues, then we potentially look at the 31 and go, okay, you and Steve can drive it harder than anybody on the racetrack for 5 laps. Let's see if maybe we throw that gauntlet down and we have the 31 versus the 27 to win the race.
Good news for fans of Matt Karakoff. He's not out. He is back out on track. Unfortunately, he is 3 laps down, though, so going to be waiting a while to see Matt Karakoff back on the lead lap, and that is a shame. He's had so much speed this season. We talk about Colton Easterday being a driver who's had a lot of bad luck this season, but Matt Karakoff has had a ton of bad luck with the equipment failure he had at Charlotte from the lead of the race, with losing Daytona by about an inch when the caution came out just behind Austin Hunter, and now from pole getting taken out by Alan Dice. It has been a hellish season for Matt Karakoff, but I do believe he'll be back next season, so it'll be his time to turn it around in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, good 3-week vacation. 2 weeks technically without racing, but who's counting? We get a good little off time, a little off season here. Look at Robert Goff.
It's
there.
the Goff.
He kind of looks like my dad.
He's got the glaucoma background. He stole that from the Chandlers on GT3.
Doing a good job with that, though. I mean, it's just chill back there, racing last week's winner, Austin Hunter, in the established traction or traffic control machine down there. I like this. He really does look like my dad, though.
Maybe we've just solved a long lost mystery. Now I wonder if we have Oliver Goff on camera. Are they going to rival the Chandlers with the family Zoom rivalry? I hope we have Oliver, because that might solve a mystery for us. Because we still don't know if it's father and son or brother and brother or cousin and cousin. We still don't know the relation of the Goffs. They're the only family that's still a mystery.
I hold off on the joke. We're in California. If we were in Talladega, the cousin and cousin, I would have started singing Sweet Home Alabama. But we're not. We're in California. We have to behave. Look at Crumry right here.
Yeah, speaking of behaving, him and McGarvey were not behaving off of turn 2. They almost went 3 wide with Keith Miller, and starting to see a little bit of bumping, a little bit of action.
Well, I mean, they already got passed by the 4. They got held up here by sitting here going on each other's doors down the straights. Yeah, they're not playing very nice here. They're going to let that 77 come in there. And McGarvey fell off a couple spots, but yeah, they're not happy about something. I kind of wonder what the radio communication's like right at the moment.
This is the first time this season that we've seen Keith Miller up front, other than at Daytona. So clearly, when we go to tracks that are longer than 2 miles, Keith Miller has found something of his own. But that might be a problem with some of the drivers up front. They're not necessarily used to racing with him up here. They don't know what he's all about. They don't know what kind of a driver he is. Basically, you're learning that in the middle of this run right now.
I did not know where you were going with that, but I'm glad you spun that in a positive. I'm like, ouch, burn, zinger. Started sounding like me for a second, but here's your, I would imagine would be your top 3 in the championship, run. Once Alan Dice and obviously he gets booted down the list a little bit for losing points here tonight, but the 27, the 46, and the 4, we would imagine that the 4 is going to win the championship. Now it's just a matter of what if Dallas Sullivan wins this race? I know it's not going to make much of a difference in the championship fight itself, but I don't think he's won a race ever.
He has won a race this season. Him and Alan Dice have both won a race this season. There's been 8 different winners in 9 races. It all started with Reese Bogue, then William Hartman won at Most Sport. We haven't seen him in a couple of weeks' time because he's been busy with his real-world commitments with Joe Gibbs Racing. But Aren Gamushtal also got a win. We saw Austin Hunter, Dallas Sullivan, Kyle Strykar, Steve Loving, and Alan Dice all get wins this season. And 3 of those drivers who I just mentioned, they want to do it again. Loving, Sullivan, and Bogue, they've all won races this season, and it shouldn't really be a surprise that they found each other up front, I guess.
I believe, wasn't that the one that I wasn't here for that Dallas Sullivan won?
No, I think you were here for that one. That was the one where Matt Karakoff had his problem.
Oh, yeah. Easy to forget on him. I'm sorry. Hey, there's Jeremy Bailey.
He's got the flag of Botswana behind him.
What's a Mosa wheel? What's a Mosa base?
I've heard of a Mosa wheel, and also that's not the flag of Botswana. That would be a black stripe in the middle. I think that's it's obviously not a flag, but I'm thinking about my vexillology. It's either Curacao or Aruba or Nauru or something that looks like that. I don't know. I don't think Jeremy Bailey knows what I'm talking about.
I don't either. I'm kind of lost over here. I know I look smart with the tie on, but I'm not 100% sure. I think that might be just a line for potentially. I would go with a hockey team. He seems like a hockey guy. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I would imagine with the facial hair and just the way that he had anger in his face on the track, that he probably watched a lot of hockey.
Here comes Reese Bogue off of turn 2. He's taking care of business with Dallas Sullivan, and now he's going to try and take care of Steve Loving. For a guy who only needed to finish in the top 10 to win the championship tonight, he's not happy with just riding along. He wants the lead as Sullivan and Crumry come together, and Dallas Sullivan goes all the way around, and the caution is out for the first time tonight.
Wasn't that a beef at some point in time? Like,
no, it was Crumry and Cowgill, but there may be a new one.
Might be a new little one, but the fact that the 46 didn't have a whole lot of damage, I think we just found our next pairing that might wreck each other. But yeah, because Cowgill said that he wasn't going to let Crumry ahead of him no more. That really hasn't come to fruition. I think Crumry's been ahead a lot.
Dallas Sullivan joined the fray. Both Sullivan and Dice came into this mathematically in contention for the championship, but both of them have taken heavy blows. But look at this for a save for Dallas Sullivan. Locks it down, throttles it up, and just a little bit of a boop.
Shapoopy.
The truck that's hard to hit.
Yeah. They're just two trucks. When 2 trucks really love each other, they just give a small little kiss, and then one goes in the wall, like at a slight little tap.
Everybody's going to come in here 16 minutes into this race, basically about halfway once we get going again after the caution. So this will essentially serve as your only pit stop in the race unless we get another caution. And now it's Steve Loving's job to hope that the Love Racing virtual pit crew is a little bit quicker than the Regan Bogue Motorsports ones.
He's sitting right on that tail right there. That Chevy painted the back bumper of the Toyota. He'll stop. Bogue's in. We'll see. I mean, Bogue's kind of at a disadvantage because you see the way that the truck, went in front of him, and then. Oh, there's Alan Dice. I was about to say, who's that pulling up right there? It's your pole sitter. Spun the tires.
Whoa.
Steve's gonna win it.
Steve Loving wins the race off of pit road. That is critical. Kevin McGarvey comes out in 3rd. Then it's Crumry and Miller rounding out the top 5. Alan Dice, who came in late there, he's going to be in there for a while, getting that early damage repaired, I can only imagine. But Steve Loving has dealt another blow to Reese Bogue. He's putting him under pressure. He still needs Reese Bogue to have a catastrophic wreck and blow the engine, basically, finish outside of the top 25 if Loving wants to win the championship, but you got to do everything you can. The only thing Steve Loving can do is win the race.
Yeah, and you might want to hurry up, because if they put Alan Dice and Chris Justice a lap down, that would put our multiple laps down. I mean, you have to hope that somebody doesn't get out of this race, and that the 4 wrecks like now. And you see Chris Justice getting off pit road. Alan Dice should be coming off pit road once the leaders start getting a little closer to him, unless he's just content to take the lap down. There's Steve. When do you pull off a pit lane? I still see him in. He's still in. Nope. I don't think he cares.
Or it's required. Oh, there he goes. Is he going to beat him off, though? Has he waited a little bit too long? No, he's fine. He waited until the last possible second. And Alan Dice gets to keep his lead lap spot, and he might just have a truck that's undamaged enough to stay in the pack now.
Yeah, he beat him off with moments to spare right there.
That's a guy who knows how to watch his relative.
That's right. It's the guy who knows how to beat the pace car off. He had an opportunity there. He took it. I'm not very good at reading it. But then again, you know, I'm about to redo my room. So tomorrow I get to redo the whole setup. I'll actually have triple screens. The relative will be a little closer to my face. I'll have it set up to where I actually have the little keyboard thing so I can go back and forth with it and, you know, select through things. It's going to be a good time. And then I'll have my own little broadcasting site over there. But then I'll actually read that relative because I'm not that smart. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this on the broadcast or not, but I'm just not that smart.
We talked about this last week, and I hope Dane Baird doesn't come in the chat again to prove us correct again. But here we go. Back to the restart. Steve Loving at the head of the field. He has won the race off of pit road. He's won a race altogether this season at Las Vegas. He go for the second one of the season. Reese Bogdu is outside. Steve Loving leads us back to green. Let's go for the second half in California.
A
little jumpy from Austin Hunter in the back there.
Yeah, he was playing Frogger, but look at Reese Bogue. I don't think he cares anymore. He's tired of riding there.
Bogue to the bottom. Steve Loving ripping the top early, trying to build up the momentum through turn one. It's going to work for him. He's going to hang on for the moment, but Bogue is going to have a little bit of side draft and look further back. Paul Crumry's got to run. Patrick Cowgill bursts into the top 5. It's crazy stuff in the early stages of this run.
Well, I'm not saying it's payback Wednesday, but if you're Patrick Cowgill, you got wrecked early in the season by that 88. This is your last chance. I think Paul Crumry or Patrick Cowgill is going to go to the Xfinity Series next year. If you're gonna pay him back here in the truck, well, right now is your time. You can't let him get out of harm's way. Go up there and give him a little nudge. My opinion.
I have good news for you, Terry. Both Crumry and Cowgill will be back in this series next season. The rivalry never ends, but Richard Pruitt is in trouble down the back straight. A great save from him. Doesn't get into the wall. But unfortunately, that's going to be Richard Pruitt out of the lead pack in that Melendez Online Digital Consulting entry.
Well, the fight for the lead just continuously picks up. I mean, you got 4 on the outside, 3 on the bottom, 1 that actually could have a run for the race lead. But Paul Crumry just pushing the mess as we take a look in the picture. I don't want to get us in trouble with anything, but just caught it, rode the seam. Can't be on the seam. Got loose. Nope, not going to work. Loose. Oh, what a save. he downshifted.
I think that was Brendel who got into him in the secondary part of that save. He had it saved, and then he got a little bit of help and had to save it again. But here we go. Patrick Cowgill on the scene. It's a great turn 4 for Cowgill. Can he make it 3 wide? He can't because Kevin McGarvey is wrecking in the background. Dylan Schmidt, Dalton Geyer, and the caution is back out once more. Huge crash off of turn 4 in the background. While Patrick Cowgill was getting aggressive, everybody behind him lost their minds.
That just saved his tires. I mean, 5 laps in, got a little aggressive, cool them things down, make a run at it again. You're going to start third. You're going to start on the inside right behind Steve Loving. Gives you an opportunity to jump down there, make it 3 wide, maybe wash him up into the 4 of Bogue. But what in the heck happened? Everybody's just started wrecking.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Keith Miller may have also been involved, but here we go. Dalton Geyer. Now, it was Keith Miller, Dylan Schmidt who came together, Kevin McGarvey. Great save from him, but Dalton Geyer gets a little bit of a hit from Garrett Austin. Tom Amasi's involved as well. What a mess, just from a little bit of an argument between Schmidt and Geyer.
That's all it starts as.
Or Schmidt and Miller, rather.
Yeah, just starts as a small a small little incident there just triggered everything. Who comes down pit road here? I think this would be interesting. You see that the 2711 didn't come in. See if anybody jumps in. Dylan Smith, Austin, Panzarella, Amasi, Sullivan.
And basically all the guys with damage.
Yeah, everybody with any type of damage came in. But I mean, those tires will play dividends here, even if you have slight damage. You know, aero works here, but the draft can kind of help you out a ton. You can get a little bit of a door damage, a little bit of the tailgate. If you get a little tailgate damage on the left side, I actually felt all week that it made you faster. Once again, I'm speaking from open setup experience. It kind of frees the truck up a little bit. You just put maybe a click or two down on the track bar, and it helps you turn center off. But these fixed setups, they're just so tight. You just have to be like on edge. You have to basically touch the seam every single lap to get the thing to turn, and it takes quite a bit to actually get them to turn.
And we'll remind everybody at home that signups for Season 2 in 2023 of the PRL are open, and every series but the GT3 Fixed Series has open spots. The Fixed Series in GT3 has filled up very quickly, but if you want to race in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, there are still plenty of spots open. The PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series, there's even more spots open, and every other night of the week. You'll see a lot of these drivers in the field right now returning to the trucks next season. RaceSpotTV, understandably, will be graduating up to the Xfinity Series. Ryan Traver and Stacey Hunter will be moving down from the Xfinity Series into the Truck Series. Matthew Miles, who we know from the roadside, will be bringing monkey butt rides to the Truck Series, which will be incredible. And you could be a part of that field too.
I can't. I'm going to be here calling the race, but if I was, let's take a guess on how many wins you think I could get.
Same amount you got in F4.
That's a tough blow. That's a tough blow. It's not my strong suit. Those cars are on edge. Those are hard to go against. The competition of the PRL for the F4 series is just crazy. I will say I was impressed that a couple times I got in the top 10 and I rode in the top 10 for a little bit, and then I just made stupid mistakes. It's just consistency in those. This is my wheelhouse. I think everybody knows that the NASCAR side is more my strong suit when it comes to driving.
And Matt Karakoff will be back next season as well, so that'll be his chance to redeem himself. The Goffs will be back, as I mentioned. Basically, look down the list of the drivers in this race, and basically all of them have re-signed for next season. That's what we love about the PRL. We always love seeing new names join. We love the guys like RaceSpotTV who have joined this season and made their names already. But it is a consistent field of drivers. You know who you're racing against, and it's truly a community. You see all these guys, especially in the Xfinity Series, meeting together in real life, racing together throughout the week. It is a community of drivers. It's a mixed up community at the back of this field because nobody seems to be able to stack up the field. But at the head of it all, it's RaceSpotTV leading us back to green once more.
Bo got a really good jump. Didn't let the 31 of Patrick Cowgill stay on his bumper for long, and we'll see what Crumry does. He's actually going to go work with the 31 here. Interesting move.
Cowgill and Crumry on the bottom, Steve Loving on the top, McGarvey trying to use the top as well, but there goes Patrick Cowgill up into second. Steve Loving goes for the switchback, though, for as long as Cowgill's going to attempt to fight with RaceSpotTV. Steve Loving's going to put himself on the scene as well. Into turn 3, not much room left between either of these two.
Yeah, that's how you take the air off of something. Oh, 4 got a little bit squirrely there, and the 27 had a run, but the 31's going to come play save and grace. Give him a shot, but it's drag racing all into turn number 1. The 27 goes back to the bottom. That might be the way to go if he can actually clear him here. He did. Can he slide up in front of him off the exit?
Yes, he can. He is clear this time. No Alan Dice moment for him, but RaceSpotTV has the momentum. He goes for a switchback himself. And it's a mirror image coming into turn 3 the next time around as it's RaceSpotTV on the bottom, Steve Loving back to the top. And Patrick Cowgill's just trying to figure out, what the heck can I do here? How can I break up this wall?
Oh, and Patrick wouldn't let the 30. Don't turn him. Gave him a shot down the front straightaway. Uh-oh, Reese, you can't block down there. There's somebody there. Now the 31 of Patrick Cowgill's going to go for the lead. He's going to dive to the bottom. I don't think he had the speed necessarily that the 4 and the 27 had. He's loose in there on that bottom side. He's going to stay door to door with him, though.
For as long as Patrick Cowgill has been in the PRL, racing in the trucks, racing in the Cup Series, he still never picked up that elusive win. He is desperate to win for the first time. He knew this season was his chance to do so. He's come close plenty of times. This is the closest he's been in quite a few weeks.
Yeah, we looked for the drivers fighting for second of when the win was going to come. Obviously, we didn't know what Reese Bogue was going to do in the Truck Series, but we thought that Patrick Cowgill and Steve Loving was going to be what they are right now, a mainstay racing for the win. And to see them up here finally at the end of the season, putting things together. You know, they're sitting second and third. Well, next season with Bogue leaving, are we going to see them fighting for the win every single week? Or are we going to see them in the mid-pack having bad luck again?
I'm always a fan of a power vacuum in a racing series, with Reese Bogue being skimmed off the top like the cream on a bucket of milk. Suddenly somebody else has to become the curds and rise to the top.
Yeah, there goes Steve to the lead. Is he going to clear himself and mess the 4 up? And I think the real question we should be asking ourselves here, Joey, is are they tearing the tires up? Is this something that we're going to see kind of affect the 4 and the 27 a little later on down the road? Oh, they
come together. Reese Bogue in the wall heavy. Steve Loving involved as well. Austin Hunter looks like a very happy boy because he's had no part of that. But suddenly Reese Bogue is destroyed, and Dallas Sullivan and Alan Dice are back in contention. That truck is smoking. He's done. CM Pennington gets wrecked under caution by Ricky Barbary for good measure, but that's going to be too much damage for Reese Bogue. With Matt Karikoff still on track, Reese Bogue is going to finish last.
Oh, no.
If Steve Loving wins this race, he could win the championship.
Can we throw the points back up here? Because this just really changed. This just changed a lot. Like, no, Steve's not winning this race. You see that?
Yeah, he's got heavy damage. But if Dallas Sullivan wins this race,
if Dallas Sullivan wins this race, who's a better opportunity here? Oh my gosh.
This is why we always make sure to mention the drivers who are in mathematical contention, even if it is unlikely. Crazy things can happen, and they just did.
I had to get a drink of my tropical mix Sprite to wash that down. Oh my gosh.
That's not the first time we've seen that this season with somebody, and that was
for good measure.
Yeah, Ricky Barbary in there, but that's not the first time this season we've seen somebody to the outside of Steve Loving and they just get wiped out. And everybody brings it down pit road except for the 3 Whataback drivers at the head of the field with Cowgill, McGarvey, and Hunter. Everybody else is down pit road.
That's kind of stupid. If you're the top 3 at this moment, what are you doing?
Hoping for another caution, probably?
No, I mean, it will, but this just handed Paul Crumry the lead. Alan Dice potentially... or Dallas Sullivan. I mean, you're handing the championship and potentially the win. I mean, do I think we're going to get another caution? Yeah, we probably will. You're in that moment that you will, but if you're the top 3 right here and you just watched everybody else come down pit road and they didn't hide it. They were not, there was no mistake about who was coming down pit road and who wasn't. They were coming down. And Barbary, let's go aboard with him here. He has, nowhere for him to go. Good gosh.
And that was the death blow for Reese Bogue's truck. Now, I'm going to do some math in my head here. Reese Bogue did lead laps in this race, so he gets 1 bonus point. If he finishes 25th, which he will, because he's not getting back out on track, he will score 18 points. Plus the 1 bonus point, that's 19 points for him. That means that if Alan Dice wants to win the championship, he needs to score 39 points. How does he do that? He has to finish 4th or higher. That's Alan Dice's only goal right now. For Dallas Sullivan, it is an even more difficult goal. I don't know if it's mathematically possible for Dallas Sullivan. With a 32-point gap, he would need to not only win the race, but also lead the most laps, which he cannot do anymore. So Dallas Sullivan is out of it, but Dice is still in this.
So 4th or higher for Dice to win this championship. He's currently sitting 8th. Look at the top 3. The top 3 are going to fall out. That is going to put him in the 5th place position if it rides the way it goes. He has 1 more spot past that to go. If we don't get a caution, which we're going to need 2 to end this race under the yellow flag, well, I hate to tell you, but I would look to see that maybe Alan Dice, he could be the one walking out of here with this championship. But then think about this too for a second. I just realized that 2 out of your 3 drivers that stayed out is on the bottom. Well, look at Alan Dice. He's 5th on the inside line right here. Oh, goodness. This, I'm glad 52 people just jumped in here to watch, because this race just flipped upside down like Will Smith in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
This is why we always try to keep those drivers in contention, in conversation the whole time. We came in tonight thinking, you know, this will be a RaceSpo night. All he needs to do is finish in the top 10. It's not going to be anybody else in contention for this championship. Suddenly, it very much is. But at the head of the field, there's still 3 Whataback drivers who want the win in the short term. Cowgill, McGarvey, and Hunter all stayed out. They're all on old tires, and Cowgill brings us back to green.
Oh, boy.
McGarvey spun the tires.
Yeah, and Paul Crummer, he went to the outside. It didn't work. The 77 actually blocked his advance. It let the bottom of Dallas Sullivan. It let the 46 get a run here. But if you're that 5 car, the 5 truck, I think that's the one we need to look at here. If you're the 5, you have to get in a lane that nobody else is currently sitting in and hope that these 3 fall off immensely. You got damaged trucks around you. You have to make this go, because you said 4th or higher, you got to get up there. Oh, the 88 sliding.
Huge loose moment for Paul Crumry. He saves it, but that's going to be another spot for Alan Dice. Book Alan Dice up into the top 6. And remember, Dice still has a little bit of damage. He got repairs in the pits, so the truck looks okay, but that truck is still not completely healthy in a straight line.
Yeah, I don't care about a straight line at this moment. If I'm looking at everybody else in front of me, look, Patrick Cowgill, McGarvey, Hunter, they have not pitted yet. That would theoretically
4 wide down the back straight. Matt Karakoff on the bottom. CM Pennington, Cole Larson, Dylan Schmidt, Garrett Austin. Somehow we just made that work.
Yeah, but like I said, if you're Alan Dice, you have 3 drivers in front of you that have not pitted yet. You have a good chance. They're on 14 lap older tires than you are at this moment. You have to find a way to get around him, as he just got passed by Jacob Emery here.
Yeah, and he needs to make sure this whole pack doesn't come together, because that'll be his race over. That'll be any positions gone. They seem to have resolved things. It's not 4 wide anymore. But look at Matt Karakoff, almost back into the top 10 after that early trouble.
Yeah, all the way up here, doing a good job. I mean, Karakoff had his early run. If he gets back to Dice, what does he do? Does he wreck him? Does he say, hey, your championship's going to be over too? And the crazy part is that that incident with Alan Dice didn't happen. Is he still running up front even after Steve Loving and the 4 of RaceSpo get into one another? You know, is this a lesson learned that you can't necessarily clear yourself here and find yourself in a bad situation?
Richard Pruitt running higher than he has all season. This is a great run for him. Kevin McGarvey ahead. Remember, on those old tires, there's a 14-lap difference in the ages of these tires. Richard Pruitt puts Kevin McGarvey in the wall down the back straight, though, with a little bit too aggressive of a bump.
One way to pass him. Give him a shot and move him in the wall. Everybody's got damage somewhere. As the 20 of Jacob Emery
Hunter's in the wall.
Hunter catches the wall.
And here comes Dice. This could be 2 positions for Alan Dice. This is his ticket into the top 5. McGarvey and Hunter, that's all he needs to pass.
Yeah, that's going to be a ticket here, because McGarvey and Hunter both have old tires. He just needs to pass them. Once he does, he's there. He got the 77 loose off the corner and the 20 of Emery's to the bottom. We got 2 minutes and 15 seconds to figure this race out.
3 laps to go at the line, if my math is correct, and Alan Dice is running out of time. He goes to the outside. He knows Kevin McGarvey is on those older tires. It's a little bit of a loose moment for McGarvey. Dice is going to have to give him a little bit of a push, though. He's got nowhere to go, and he's got 2 more positions to make up in 3 laps.
Yeah, I know we're normally focused on the race leaders with Patrick Cowgill and Sullivan, but Dice is the championship guy right now. He's the one in the season finale to win this championship if he gets past 2 drivers. He just has to clear the 77, which he's going to take a peek at it. He's still got the 20. He has the 32 of Bailey behind him. If he doesn't get around the 312 and the 77, his championship run is over as he's going to look to the outside. This might be his chance to crack that top 5 for the first time since the incident early.
Another loose moment for McGarvey. That's going to check up Emery, and that is exactly what Alan Dice needed. But what he doesn't need is a damage-free truck of Jeremy Bailey, who's on the scene to end it all.
Yeah, he also needs Austin Hunter to kind of move down. I know Austin's listening to us. There he goes.
There he goes.
He moves down. The 5 needs to keep this momentum up. He needs to go up here and get this done. We're going to have 2 laps to go when we touch this line. Bailey's going to get him here. What does Austin Hunter do? What does the 5 do? He's pushing it down the back straightaway, but he's got to find a way to get around him.
If Alan Dice finishes 5th, he ties Reese Bogue on points, but he will lose the championship on countback. He needs to pass both of these drivers, and Jeremy Bailey seems to be the fastest driver of anybody in this pack. Here comes Alan Dice down to the bottom to steal the draft of Jeremy Bailey. The white flag, I believe, was in the air for Dallas Sullivan. It's a race against the clock to come back to the line, and Alan Dice has 1 more position to make up.
Yeah, I would hate to be in this situation with the 5. That you're 1 spot short for the championship. This is a tough spot to tie. We don't have co-champions here as Garrett Austin has spun in the back. But yeah, I think this is championship over because the 32 of Bailey, with all the raciness, not getting around the 77 and the 312, it ain't happening.
Dallas Sullivan past Patrick Cowgill in the silence, and the checkered flag is out. Dallas Sullivan wins for the 2nd time this season, and Alan Dice finishes 5th, and we believe that's going to be just short. We still need to calculate the points officially, but I think he has come up 1 point short on his championship rival Reese Bogue, who still sits in the pits with 10 minutes of repairs, but I think Bogue has done enough.
Well, Alan Dice led a lap.
I don't think he did.
I think he did. I think the 5 led a lap.
Yes, he did. He was ahead of Matt Karakoff, so
Yeah.
he's equal with Reese Bogue on that bonus point.
Yep.
It's possible. It is possible. That's why we need to wait. Usually PRL Oval organizer Charles Sumner is very, very good about organizing these points, about inputting them very quickly.
I think Alan Dice might have won this championship if they equaled on the lap. And Reese didn't lead the most laps either. That would have went to the 27.
I'm refreshing my spreadsheet every single second. We need to get these points in here.
I would have imagined Steve led the most laps because he was up front for the longest. Reese only led for 5 or 6.
Things are getting updated live here. I'm seeing points getting spat in. I'm seeing bonus points get calculated. Basically, all we can do right now is wait for Charles Sumner to put everything in.
And he's getting ready to race the Xfinity race.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We didn't think we were going to have a championship race. We thought we were looking for the Xfinity series coming up in the matter of minutes to have a championship run. But holy cow, 25th for the championship leader coming in. Alan Dice comes up here. Dallas Sullivan needed to lead the most laps and win the race. He did one of the 2, and he needed Reese to finish 25th or worse, and, well, he did.
Richard Regan Jr. just sent me a message, Reese Bogue's teammate, saying that Reese still won the championship by 12 points. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's true, but we'll have to wait and see. But for now, the one thing we do know for sure is Dallas Sullivan, potentially the most silent win of his career, He's going to finish third in the championship after another great win for him, and he'll be coming back as one of the for sure championship contenders next season. Richard Pruitt, second for him as well, his best result of the season for SGE, and Patrick Cowgill comes home just short again in third. Jeremy Bailey may have been the position that lost Alan Dice the championship. Alan Dice waits for those calculators to figure out if he has won this thing. Jacob Emery up to the top 6 ahead of Austin Hunter. Chris Justice, Kevin McGarvey, and Cole Larson rounded out the top 10. Then Paul Crumry fell outside of the top 10. He finished ahead of CM Punk Pennington. Oliver Goff wins the golf battle for the final time this season ahead of Brendel and Karakoff. Robert Goff, Keith Miller, Dalton Geyer, Colton Easterday, and Dylan Schmidt bring us down to 20th. Then the last couple of drivers on the lead lap, Loving, Panzarella, Austin, and Amasi. Reese Bogue finishes 25th. Ricky Barbary finishes 26th. I'm going to do one more refresh here, but I still don't see anything. So for now, we're going to talk to the one guy who we know for sure is a winner, and that's Dallas Sullivan. While the championship scores are being tabulated, we do know one thing for sure, Dallas, and we know you're a race winner.
He doesn't care about it.
Dallas Sullivan, do you have a copy?
Sure.
There we go. We got him. So how about that? A win to end the season at Fontana.
Hey, what a great way to end it off. Had some bad luck this race, the last couple races, so didn't know I'd be able to drive back up there, but I just kind of kept taking tires on those pit stops because I knew there's still enough racing left, and sometimes it works out for you like that.
And this has got to be some good momentum. I did see you're signed up for next season of the Truck Series. You'll be back with us as one of 2 drivers who's won multiple races this season, and Reese is moving up to the Xfinity Series. Are you feeling championship runs coming up next season?
I sure hope so. I felt like the first 4, 5, 6 races of this season first half was pretty good, and then a couple bad races in a row, and I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of down here, not up at the top anymore. And I guess a couple guys dropped out throughout the season though, so just got to be a little more consistent in these next 10 races, and then hopefully we can end up a little bit higher up. I think Alan still got me, of course Reese still got me, but yeah, 2 more spots would be nice.
Well, congrats on one more win to end the season, Dallas, and congrats on the team's championship for Loaded Dice Racing as well. I'd be remiss to mention that.
Yeah, Alan, TJ, both out there showing up and putting down some good results. It's a real great little group of guys. This is the first season I've run with this league, and I've really enjoyed it. So just hats off to all the guys that are running this. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure running with you, and I appreciate the broadcast as well.
Always a pleasure. Congrats on the win. We'll see you next season, Dallas.
Thanks. Y'all have a nice night.
Dallas Sullivan, your victor for the moment, but for now, as we still wait for somebody to tell us for real if Reese Bogue has won the championship, we got a guy who's going to be just as happy himself. Richard Pruitt's here, and he's with Terry.
Yo, Richard Pruitt, first time talking to you in a while.
What's going on, guys?
Well, that 24 Pepsi machine sure looked good out there tonight. A nice P2 finish to end the season, and I believe you're coming back next season to the trucks. It gives you an opportunity to end yourself on a high note, to potentially come out here and maybe race for some wins next season.
Well, that's the plan. I certainly hope to get Melendez Online Digital Consulting in Victory Lane next season. I came 1 spot short tonight, so really struggled with the fixed set this week, so I wasn't expecting a second place, but I was just trying to take care of my tires, take care of my stuff, and found myself right up there with fresh tires towards the end. I can't believe that those many guys stayed out, but playing into my favor, and look at us, we're P2, so that's what we want, and that's a good way to end the season 1.
Yeah, we'll go to next season. Obviously, we follow the schedule. I don't know what 3 weeks from tonight is, but I would imagine we're going to a lot of crazy tracks. Talladega will be on that schedule. We'll see the new Atlanta racetrack potentially on that schedule. Where do you kind of fit yourself in that box where you know you're going to have a couple plate races, and then I believe there's a road course or 2 that's going to be in that as well. So where do you find your strengths and weaknesses there?
Well, my last name might be Pruitt, but I'm not a road racer, so I'm definitely not looking forward to those. But I usually find myself running pretty close to the front in plate races, but my problem with the trucks is I don't have any teammates, so I got to find me a dancing partner for when we go to the plate tracks. But yeah, I wish Rockingham was on the schedule. That's my go-to track right there for some odd reason. But all the bigger tracks, a mile and a half plus, seem to be my strong suit.
All right, so we're throwing out there to anybody that's watching that wants to sign up for Season 2 of 2023. SGE Esports is looking for a teammate for old Richard Pruitt right here to not have Pepsi cans thrown at you at Talladega or Daytona, but thanks for your time. Congrats on P2. I love the hat, by the way.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you interviewing me and giving some love to our sponsors.
That's awesome, man. That's P2, Joey Tabin. That's Richard Pruitt.
Indeed, it is.
Thanks,
We're starting to get closer to an answer. I think I've got the points totals correct. I've just given one last message to Charles Sumner to make sure we call the results correctly. We don't want to have a Steve Harvey moment here. But for now, for one more moment, we're going to talk to our third place finisher. Mr. Patrick Cowgill is here with us. Third place in the race tonight, but I can't imagine I'm wrong in saying you're pretty disappointed with losing that one.
You're definitely right.
So how do we take this into the next season? We know you'll be back as well. You've shown pace this season. Are you taking that as confidence into next season?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think a lot of it was just some really bad luck this season, and then of course last week I ended up taking out the whole field. But I think next season will definitely be better.
So what are you going to take away from this season as your last observation of this season? It's been 10 weeks. It's been up and down. What are you taking away from this?
I mean, honestly, I don't know, because next season is going to be completely different because I'm going to have a new rig. So I'm going to be having to get a new feel for the truck.
Well, Patrick, congrats at the very least at hanging on to a top 3 to end the season, and we'll see if you can finally get that first win next season.
Yep, thank you guys.
Patrick Cowgill, number 31 and number 3 in the race tonight. But we've officially got a call. I'm not going to do Dewey defeats Truman here. I'm going to say it officially. Reese Bogue, by 1 point, we believe you are the 2023 Season 1 PRL NASCAR Truck Series champion.
Yeah, I mean, me and Rich were doing the math, and it wasn't really adding up how Dallas now were the champions. I mean, we did it many possible ways, like if they got every single point from tonight, and it wasn't adding up. I mean, I still got some points finishing 25th or whatever it was, so I think I'm going to wait until it's official, I think tomorrow or Friday, whatever day it is. But yeah, if we came out there with a championship, that'd be great. I knew coming in this week I need to stay out of the wrecks, and I mean, after I got hit once, I got doored once, I let him go, got back next to him, cleanly got by him, and then got hit in the 3. I mean, that might have been my fault. It's kind of a racing deal. I thought he was gonna give me a little more room, but I mean, it is what it is. But if we can still come away with this championship, I'll be very happy with that. You know, worked pretty hard on it all year, and yeah, just a lot of good racing.
Yeah, by my calculations, the pole position points went to Karakov, so we're going to race those. You led a lap, but Alan Dice didn't. So your teammate Richard says it's 347 for you, 345 for Dice. I think I believe him. I think we're right. I think you are officially the champion, but I do want to look forward to next season because you're moving up to the Xfinity series. You're going to join Richard and the rest of those guys. You think we can go 2 for 2? Are you going to win the championship up there?
Well, man, I don't know about that. I mean, Rich is very good. He's teaching me very well in iRacing and stuff, and it'll be a lot of fun. Be a little different hearing strategy from him while racing the same race, not him coaching me along, but we'll see. Hopefully we can get a lot of 1-2s, and hopefully we can win a team championship and 1-2 the drivers points championship at the end of that year. I don't know if I'll go 2 for 2, but I'll do my best.
Well, at the very least, for now, congratulations on the championship, Reese, the happiest 25th place finisher in the world, and we'll see you in 3 weeks' time in Xfinity.
Yeah, thank you guys for putting this on, and yeah, looking forward to it, and be a lot of fun. See you guys next few weeks, and good luck and everything you guys have.
And speaking of the Xfinity series, well, Terry, it's about time, and this is what it looks like. We've got another championship finale to resolve, and it's one where the math is even easier, because Abner Acosta and Elliott White come into tonight separated by one singular point. things start to get a little bit dicey, no pun intended, with the count back. If they finish second, they're only separated by 1 point, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, this is what we have in store. 1 point separating the top two. Sean Campbell could have been in championship contention. Unfortunately, he missed one too many rounds, so he's going to come up 1 round short there. It's a very close battle between him, Bradley Holly, and Jeff Evans, though, for that critical 3rd spot. Bradley Holly, of course, needs to win tonight to keep the Wednesday night streak alive. If he doesn't win tonight, this is the first Wednesday night season ever in the PRL that Bradley Holly would not have a win in. Mark Kalin, Thomas Sink, Danny Cervantes, Adam Zemke, and Charles Sumner round out the rest of the top 10. But here we go in the team standings. This is also very much resolved. Precision Racing Esports, 111. They are very, very easily at the top of this sheet. They have won this championship with Acosta and White. Then it's a threesome of What a Back behind that. Then Car Ramrod, Private Label Team Hype, Double Ride and Shotgun Motorsports, OGR Racing, and the part-time Precision Racing Esports squad to round everything out. That's about it for the standings, Terry. I know everybody's desperate to get into the racing. We're desperate to get into the qualifying, because this is the critical thing. With the bonus points on the line, with only 1 point separating everybody, those 2 positions you get for a pole position are going to be pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle. Richard Regan Jr.'s back tonight, so kind of add him to the flame. You got a lot of drivers that are looking for a win, like a Bradley Holly, who has never not won on Wednesday. That wants to come out here and win this thing. Danny Cervantes is looking for a win. He's leading qualifying right at the moment with a blistering time, like a 41.05. Everybody else is in the 8s. So kind of going to see what's going on here. Abner's on track now. There's Bradley Holly. He's currently going to lay his first lap down. We'll see what he puts down at the line, but I would imagine he's going to be in the top 3 right here.
Got a little bit loose down there coming onto the apron, so did that subtract a little bit of speed from Bradley Holly there? I believe that was actually his out lap, so even if it did, that's just going to screw up his first lap around here. Navigates through turns 1 and 2 for the first time. You can visibly see that this is definitely an upgrade from the Truck Series. In these Xfinity cars, it's a whole nother challenge. It's not pack racing like the Truck Series was in the same way.
Yeah, and looky at the leaderboard right here. We're separated by 1 point. Well, Elliott, White, and Abner Acosta are sitting 2 and 3 at the moment. So, yeah, that's how close it's been over here all season long between these drivers. Every single one of them has been right on top of each other as Brad slides into the 4th position. There's Nicholas Hunter, who is going to be a teammate of mine. I got a couple teammates in the field doing a charity race on Friday for Charlie's Playground racing at Talladega. I got Nicholas Hunter, and I've got Doug Evans and the Bubbles the Wall Sponge. He's going to be in the race with his 2-year-old Mark Kalin. So I got about 3 or 4 teammates sitting in here racing with me from the Whataback crew and are going to come over and race the charity race with me. It's going to be a pretty cool event.
Nicholas Hunter is now on the clock. We'll see where he can put himself in a slightly shortened field tonight. 19 cars joining us for the season finale. We'll see more drivers in the field next season. There's a few drivers who I've already seen who have signed up new for next season. Mike Knight will be here. Corey Precker and Byron Johnson from Sunday nights and from IRO4s will be joining the field. Of course, Reese Bogue will be here. Jacob Emery is actually going to move up from the trucks as well. Jacob Fifield will hopefully be back. It'll be a pretty good field in this series next season. But Terry, our math just got a lot easier because neither Elliott White nor Abner Acosta have put it on pole. Danny Cervantes has stolen those critical pole position points. So we don't even have to think about that. We don't even have to factor that into our math here because Danny has done it. He's going to start for pole at Auto Club ahead of Elliott White, ahead of Abner Acosta, ahead of Bradley Holly. Then it's Jeff Evans on row 3 alongside Sean Campbell. 7th place went to Thomas Sink alongside Adam Zemke. Stacey Hunter will be going to the trucks next season, but in his Xfinity last hurrah, he starts alongside Jose the Funky Cold Medina. Doyle Lawrence was 11th alongside Richard Regan Jr. Very disappointing qualifying for him. Ryan Traver will be back to the trucks. He starts alongside Jim Westerfield, and then Doug Evans was the last driver who got set a qualifying lap time here tonight. Colton Lane, Charles Sumner, and Mark Kalin, all no lap times from them. I believe some of them were disallowed due to bringing out cautions last week. Yes, indeed. And then Nicholas Hunter starts last shotgun on the field. All those guys were allowed to qualify. I was wrong. But Danny Cervantes was supposedly not allowed to qualify this week thanks to a race review from Daytona. But he's qualified anyway. So the thing may have gotten reviewed. So he may have been allowed to qualify. But I'm so confused. Austin Hunter is here. We're confused, Austin. What's going on?
Somebody accidentally got disqualified, and so they're having to make a new session to make sure everybody can get it.
Who was it? Was it Nick?
It was not. It was Colton got disqualified.
Oh, Colton.
He didn't need to race anyhow.
If he shows up in the chat, we get to make fun of him.
Always.
We're making fun of him now. 18 sounds good to me.
I don't think it was letting him in the race is the problem.
Oh
no. And I have a question about your teammate Danny Cervantes, Austin, because the caution review from last week at Daytona said Danny wasn't allowed to qualify, but he went out and did it anyway. Was his penalty rescinded?
That is a question that I don't have an answer for. Sorry, I couldn't be more helpful.
What do you know?
I know that y'all look great in your suits.
What's the capital of New York? I don't know either. I was asking.
Albany.
What's the capital of Tennessee?
Nashville.
Memphis.
What is it?
Yes.
Huh. I guess it's been too long since I've been in 6th grade.
Good grade. Yeah.
I agree with Joey.
Nope, Terry, you're wrong. Capital of Tennessee is Nashville.
No way.
The capital of Tennessee is Nashville.
Nashville's trash though. Memphis is much better.
Well, there's a lot of state capitals that aren't very good cities.
Pretty sure they changed that at some point in time because Memphis used to be the state capital.
I think maybe in like 1812 or something.
Well, whatever. I like the old timey days.
So while we wait for the session to be refreshed, we've heard a lot of opinions and things in the chat. Colton Lane said he was disqualified as a joke during practice and they couldn't fix it. So that's what happened here. Can we blame Charles Sumner for that? Can we blame him for that?
I think we should blame Austin Hunter.
We should, because he's here. And also, Mr. Paul Crumry has just told us in the chat that it's Crumry, not Crumry, and he took 20 weeks to correct us.
Yeah, I'm still gonna call you Crumry. I don't care. I'm content with what we've called you from here on out. I mean, I think you should change your name, not change us. So I feel like I feel like we're gonna change you now. By the way, hey, quick question: can we keep Austin for the race?
Probably not.
Austin, can we keep you for the race?
I mean, sure, why not?
Producer guy, is this allowed? Can we keep our pet?
Well, I think there's a position in the booth because your brother Nick is always with us on Sunday nights. He's always sitting in the booth giving us insider information in the chat. So we could use Nick part 2.
Can we get can we use him like we did on Monday where I had Andrew Freenage and we have Austin Hunter give us tidbits about the car and what they're doing, talk about their personalities. I mean, we can speculate all we want. Yeah, but. Yeah, there we go. An analyst. Yeah, can we keep him as an analyst?
Speaking of chat, I am going to sneak in here. Bubbles the Wall Sponge did just take blame in the chat for all this.
It's always Bubbles' fault. But yeah, we get to keep the analyst. So Joey, we can have a third person. Austin, if you have your camera on, you have to go put a tie on. It's kind of a tie night. I got a bow tie. Joey has the long tie on. And we get to have current field time because this is iRacing's version of a rain delay. Welcome to your first coverage of a rain delay.
It was not what I was ready for, but we can make it work.
Also, this has happened before. I remember, Austin, you were with us in the truck series when something very similar happened. I think it was at Chicagoland, and you accidentally had the Martinsville setup on, and they had to restart the session.
It was a good time. We filled for 20 minutes, Joey?
Something like that.
We filled for a while. We did a good job. Colton corrected me. Knoxville was also Tennessee state capital at some point, but it's currently Nashville. So yeah, it's kind of indecisive of what the state capital wants to be in Tennessee. It's Memphis, it was Knoxville, it's Nashville. They don't know. They haven't made up their mind.
I've gotten a couple of messages from Charles Sumner. I messaged him before we called the championship. I said, is RaceSpoT actually the champion? Can we call that yet? He said he doesn't know. We called it anyway because we did the math. Richard Regan Jr. did some math of his own, and I don't think there's any way that Dice could have scored enough points to beat Bogue to the championship. But also, what Charles mentioned is that the caution reviews haven't happened yet. So both Alan Dice and RaceSpotTV were involved in cautions. Alan Dice, of course, was responsible for his caution when he cleared himself across Matt Karakoff's nose, but Mr. RaceSpotTV was to the outside of Steve Loving in their little accident. We didn't put blame on anybody. I kind of did on Steve Loving. I think that was probably his fault, so Bogue probably won't get bopped for that, but we still got to let the judge do his job.
I like how we put the coming next thing down at the bottom. That's perfect. This is why I love RaceSpot. By the way, there's 48 people there watching. That means there's 48 opportunities to put your application in to potentially be a part of this crew. You could work with Joey Tebbin or Terry Radford if that tickles your fancy to do. You could join the Discord. You could follow them on Twitter at RaceSpotTV. We can have a good time. You submit your little application. I submitted mine. I haven't heard back. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty solidified here, but I put one in anyhow.
By the way, I've been checking the history. The first capital of Tennessee was Knoxville until I was actually accidentally right. It was until 1812 when it was relocated to Nashville. Then it was moved back to Knoxville. Then it was moved to Murfreesboro, and then it was moved back to Nashville in 1843.
So Murfreesboro was the state capital at one point in time. I need to rebrush up on some history here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also Kingston, apparently, for like a month.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Kingston's going towards
It was for a day. The capital of Tennessee was in Kingston for one day.
That makes sense. Kingston's pretty trash. Yeah. I need to brush up on I've been away from Tennessee for too long. I only really care about one state there, and that's Knoxville. So
I'm really curious as to why the capital moved for one day.
See, this is why we should have history time here on RaceSpot.
Okay, I've just found it. I've clicked on the Wikipedia reference. It said, on September 21st, 1807, Kingston was Tennessee's state capital for one day. The Tennessee General Assembly convened in Kingston that day due to an agreement with the Cherokee, who had been told that if the Cherokee Nation ceded the land that is now Roane County, Kingston would become the capital of Tennessee. After adjourning that day, the Assembly resumed meeting in Knoxville.
So sounds like what normal America has been for 200 million years.
Sounds like some dicey action there in Tennessee.
Yeah. Sounds like broken promises again, huh?
Supposedly, the new session is being loaded up right now. We may be back to qualifying. If you're Danny Cervantes right now, you're gonna be pretty unhappy. But also, this may be your chance to realize that wait, I wasn't supposed to qualify this week, or maybe he was. Maybe he talked to Charles Sumner and got his penalty reviewed.
Yeah, that could be it. Hey, there's Bubbles the Wall Sponge. Hey,
Mark
Bubbles,
Kalin, what did you do?
I was trying to have a little fun with Colton, and it didn't work out.
Good job, Mark. Yeah, once again, you have delayed us, and we're in suits.
I do apologize for that, but yeah, new session is up. Everybody's loading in, and we'll be ready to go here momentarily.
And I'll ask you as well, because you're his teammate and you're one of the admins in the session. The caution reviews from last week said Danny Cervantes wasn't allowed to qualify, but he went and put it on poll in that previous session. Is he going to be allowed to qualify this time?
I will have to double check my notes, and we'll have to go accordingly.
What
commentators have to be tattletales.
Yeah. What are we doing? Are we qualifying again, or are we just going straight to the race?
We're going to qualify and then go into the race. I think the reason Danny probably qualified is because Charles didn't get a chance, because I was talking to him about the Colton incident. So Charles didn't get a chance to announce the non-qualifiers for this evening before qualifying started.
Another question before you rip you out of here. Are we deducting time, or are we still going to go for the 40 minutes?
The plan is still for full time. Is that all right
Who
with
won
you
the
guys?
championship? Reese Bogue or Alan Dice?
I do not have that information.
We've called it as Reese Bogue, so if it's not Reese Bogue, we're gonna be very embarrassed.
Yeah, what do you know at this moment? Did you know that the capital of Tennessee was Knoxville at first?
No, I did not, because Tennessee's that state nobody cares about. But no, like Charles said in your all's messages, we got to go through the race review and see if there's any penalties that need to be applied to anything, and then it'll be set in stone.
But before we kick you out of here, I do have another question.
All right.
We're going to use Austin Hunter as an analyst tonight. Is he going to do a good job or a bad job?
Austin, he knows a good deal about the PRL and racing in general, so I think he's going to do a daggone good job for y'all.
I like it.
We've just had another guest join us here. I'll let it, because we're still waiting for everybody to join this session. They've been very, very slow.
Unlike this guy.
Yeah, Reese Bogue is back in the chat. What's happening now, Reese? Do you have an update for us?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I kind of caught something where I heard it wasn't me. I'm not 100% sure on what it was, but
The rat.
What's that?
We were talking about the rat between you and Loving.
Oh God. Well, that's relieving to hear. I mean, as I said, I think that we still won. I just want to clarify to everybody out there. I didn't say this in the interview. I did not mean to wreck Steve, or he did not mean to wreck me. So that's just to clear it up for anybody out there.
We got to bring Steve Loving up into the Xfinity series next season so we can keep this rivalry going.
Hey man, I'll be on board with it.
All right, well, hopefully, I don't know if it'll be before the end of the night. I think they're not doing their caution reviews until like Friday or something, but I think all the math suggests that you are the champion, because even if you get penalized for the incident with Steve, Alan is also getting penalized for the incident he had with Karakov. But also, now that I think of it, did Dice and Karakov bring out the caution when they came together, or did that stay green?
Stayed green.
Oh, well, suddenly the plot thickens again.
Yeah.
I believe it stayed green, yes. But later on in the race, somebody got together with Alan. I know Dallas ended up getting in a wreck early on too, as well. So that's another curveball.
Yeah, but
I'm 95% sure that I think you'll be the champion, but we could be wrong. I'm suddenly doubting reality again.
We just need to roll the dice.
That's true. And if we are wrong, we will come back on the air on Friday. We'll do a 2-minute broadcast that will crown the champion.
That'll change our opinions. We'll do it on Twitter, because I feel like Twitter would be a little bit more fun. But yeah, it stayed green, so I guess that is a little bit of a wrinkle in our idea here.
Those darn caution points.
You didn't think about that.
All right, well, Reese, congrats or condolences either way. We'll see you whenever it's for real.
Yes, thank you, boys, and talk to y'all soon.
Indeed, we will.
Joe.
So we're in practice now. Everybody is joining the session. I think there's still a few other stragglers. Sean Campbell, who's not in the session right now, but we're almost there.
Oh my goodness! I hope Bubbles is actually watching. The Vanderbilt Commodores upset the number 23 ranked Kentucky Wildcats on senior night in Lexington, Kentucky. That's more embarrassing than him catching the wall out of nowhere.
Literally the only driver who hasn't joined the session is Sean Campbell. And interestingly, we've got a new driver who's just joined the session. With the delay, Brandon Walters here now. Brandon Walters showed up.
He must have realized that this was enjoyable. I mean, we've still managed to hold 44 people out here, which I don't know if it speaks to our, comical banter back and forth with each other, but I'm enjoying this. Like, this is what I live for. But I didn't really get to go too in depth with the race, and I don't know if I'm allowed to do this or not, but there was a little girl, Joey. I don't know if you looked at my social media here soon or lately. I posted that I was going to be racing in this charity race. So this little girl named Charlie, she ended up passing away a couple years back, and her only wish was to have playgrounds built for people with disabilities. It's a pretty awesome little charity that's going around here, and a lot of news stories have been posted about it. They did a lot of research, and the guys over at Turn Down for What, a racing league here on iRacing, did a really good job of putting this together. Friday night, I think it's Repeat 1975's Twitch, YouTube, and some iRock channel on Roku. They're putting this charity race on, and a lot of the guys from the PRL jumped in with me and said, "Yeah, we'll race together, and we're gonna go turn 80 laps around Talladega." A little $2 donation to get in and run it. I think they ended up donating. I think it's been over $500 or something like that that's been donated to it. So really good cause. Can't wait to potentially go win one.
That's one of the things that the PRL breaks gives us. There's always a 3-week break between seasons. Of course, the drivers need a break, the commentators need a break, but sometimes some of these drivers can't even bother to take a break. They've got to get racing into their system, and they'll do it for charity. There's been a bunch of these events in the past.
Yeah, and they're going to jump in it on Friday. So we literally finish this season, and then Friday we go race together, and then I think next week we're going to jump in and do something together on Wednesday nights. Not too sure what we're going to do, but have something to do. And yes, the signups are still open for that charity race. You can follow me on Twitter. There's still an opportunity to race Senate, to be on a waiting list to run, or you could just simply I don't know, just donate, I guess. It's open to everything, but if you have a chance on Friday to swing in, tune in, and have a little fun, have a little laugh. I'm running. I don't know if you saw the paint scheme, Joey. I'm running Mark Kalin's scheme from, or not Mark Kalin, but Jeff's scheme from last week, the Travis Pastrana look.
Terry and Austin, I need a round of applause because Sean Campbell has finally joined the session.
About time. It only took him forever.
It took me shaming him on the PRL Discord for him to finally join the session, but we've got every driver in the field, and we've got one more driver than we had previously. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe Mark Kalin did this deliberately to let Brandon Walter get in here. Maybe he was running late.
I feel like you wanted to throw that out there, that Mark did something right, but I'm not gonna give Mark the time of day to say that he did something right. So he instantly claps back in the chat when I said that Kentucky lost to a crappy Vanderbilt team. I said, well, Tennessee lost to an unranked Kentucky twice. Tennessee was also down a couple players. So I don't want to hear his mouth. You know, he does this here. Speaking of great Tennessee people, Colton Lane, good old volunteer fan, which I'm angry, and maybe next season he'll do this, is just take the Mark Martin scheme off and just put a massive Tennessee orange on it. And he's not going to run the charity race because I took his number, the 60. That was my number.
That's my number.
That's my number. And every race that I've ran is my number.
That's my number.
Yeah.
My number.
Your number 2 for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my number. That's the number that I run in every single league that I'm in is 60. And Colton was mad that I took the number from him, but whatever.
All right, fine. Terry, I'll bargain with you. I'll take the 312.
Yeah, I'll take.
Not going to happen.
I want the 312.
Not going to happen. Although I can't make the race this week, definitely going to be cheering Terry on. That's my number.
Qualifying is officially underway again after a lengthy delay for a little bit of goofiness. We are back to qualifying again. Looks like Danny Cervantes is not going out on track this time, so either he's waiting or he's been told that he's not allowed to qualify. That suddenly opens the door, though, Terry, because remember, who was second and third behind Danny Cervantes? It was our championship competitors, Acosta and White. Suddenly the bonus points are on track again.
Yeah, but Austin, I'll bring you in on this one, too. That first attempt that they put out there for a qualifying lap, maybe they learned something, right? Maybe they picked up a little speed. Colton Lane sure picked up some speed. He was not. Jeff Evans picked up some speed. They wasn't running 41 flats here on their initial lap, or 40.9s. Anything you could have learned, Austin, from the first session to this one?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to be completely honest, in the truck race, I didn't learn what I was doing until about 10 laps to go. So there's always a chance to learn. Every lap counts, and it's clearly something's different because they're on rails right now.
Here's one of Austin's buddies next season. Ryan Traver will be moving down into the Truck Series, but for one last shot, he's got a shot at the Xfinity Series. He's had a decent season moving up into the Xfinity Series. He had a great result at Chicagoland on that fuel run, got a 4th place finish out of that. Probably hoping that we have another long run like that, because that's where Ryan Traver can shine. Evidently, he's one of our fuel wizards.
Well, I mean, you talk about a lot of these racetracks. You think of a Michigan, you think of Auto Club. We had an Auto Club winner last season in the Truck Series, Charles Sumner catching a win because of fuel mileage. He's in this race. He's obviously a little further on back there with Brandon Walter, but this is the guy that we're looking for. Elliott White's already laid his time down. He's currently second to Richard Regan Jr. Can Abner Acosta take that point and stretch it to get a lap-led point, to get the pole point, and kind of just stretch this out a little bit to put himself just a little bit more comfortable that he only has a little bit of a margin here that he can play with Elliott White.
Charles Sumner did not win a race last season, by the way. I'm going to figure out who are you talking about, but I think it was one
of the great people.
It's been many years since Charles Sumner has won a race.
I'm telling you, it was one of the Austin. You were in the race. It was one of the people with the
probably Adam Zimke.
He won Chicagoland.
It was that fuel mileage. Yeah, that's
no. That was a late race restart. I'm going to check the stats right now. I'm going to figure out who won Auto Club last season.
There was a fuel mileage race in Chicagoland last year, or here last year, that the truck races won. I could have swore it was one of the Tropicana drivers.
I should remember who won Auto Club last season because that was our playoff championship finale.
Yeah.
Maybe Richard Regan Jr. won it. I'm not sure. I'm going to check the data here, but for now, everybody is actually qualified except for Danny Cervantes. He's not been allowed to qualify, and it's still not Abner or Elliott up at the top of the field. It's Richard Regan Jr., who qualified 12th in the previous session. He screwed up his run, but he's been given a second chance, and he's taken advantage of it.
Well, and hold up here, because he fell a ton. Abner was sitting third on the speed charts. Elliott White stayed consistent with second, but Abner Acosta did not have the run he wanted. He fell back 4 spots to 7th. Colton Lane jumped up there to that 4th. Jeff Evans took the 3rd spot, and Thomas Inc. just put himself in that 8th place position, and Sean Campbell finally qualifies down here. He's in 9th. That's an interesting top 10.
Very, very interesting. Qualifying has come to an end here, and I have just checked that Richard Regan Jr. did win when we ran Auto Club here last season in the trucks, and he gets to start officially this time from the pole position. He starts alongside currently second in the championship, Elliott White. Jeff Evans, great qualifying from him, in third alongside Colton Lane. Bradley Holly qualified 4th the previous attempt. He qualifies 5th this time alongside Mr. Applebee's Adam Zemke. Then Abner Acosta, bad qualifying for him comparatively, in 7th alongside Thomas Sink in an all-white entry for some reason this week. Sean Campbell starts alongside Bubbles the Wall Sponge, Mark Kalin. Then it's Ryan Traver and Doyle Lawrence for riding shotgun on row 6. Unlucky 13th went to Doug Evans. He starts alongside Mr. Nicholas Hunter. Then it's Jim Westerfield and the unrelated Stacy Hunter. Jose the Funky Cole Medina is 17th alongside Mr. Sausage and Peppers, the guy who got very lucky with the rescheduling of this session, Brandon Walter. And the admin, Charles Sumner, starts shotgun on the field on the final row alongside Mr. Danny Cervantes, though. So he's not all alone. 20-car field, 83 degrees Fahrenheit. It's time for an Xfinity Series race for real.
Yeah, and Austin, I'll bring you into this. Track temp is relatively similar to what we saw in that truck race. What was the track conditions like out there? Were y'all slipping and sliding on the early portion, or did it take a while?
Oh, absolutely. It took maybe 3 or 4 laps for the tires to come in, and that's why us Waterback guys didn't pit in that session, because we really thought that we had more time to kind of even out the tires and run away, but that didn't work out. So hoping it works out better for some of these guys in this race.
Ready to roll, and we can build the tension again here. We had a little bit of a break, but I think if anything, that's probably built the tension up even higher for Elliott White and Abner Acosta, because they've had to qualify again. Abner is clearly going to be disappointed with the worst run. He needs to finish within one position of Elliott White. He needs to beat him, for that matter, to make sure we don't get any countback craziness, and he doesn't have to worry about anything, and he can just win the championship. But he's got 6 positions to make up to do that.
Well, at this moment, when we drop the green flag, Elliott White sitting in your championship spot. So,
yep.
You know, Abner's having to come from behind here. Not that that's a big deal. You know, you mess up qualifying here. It's kind of like Daytona Talladega. It really doesn't matter where you start. You have an opportunity to still make yourself up to the front through pit strategy, through having checkups on the restart. So we'll see as it rolls what Elliott White, throwing the curveball in it that the 56 of Richard Regan Jr.'s here. Any chance he gets in a server, he's got a chance to win.
Here we go. The final race of the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series season in 2023 Season 1. Richard Regan Jr. has been redeemed, and we're about to go deep into the night. We've been doing all this late night talking, and Richard Regan Jr., it's his house. He takes us to green.
Green.
Through the middle, he's not letting up. He's immediately going to put it 3 wide with our championship leader Abner Acosta and Adam Zemke.
Yeah, puts it down there to the bottom. He's going to try to go through with Sean Campbell. Bradley Holly sitting up there in front of him in the middle. We'll see if this works. Tires take a minute to come in here. He's going to get up alongside Abner, or next to Bradley Holly, to try to make this run. Put in P5 right now as they come to the line.
A much calmer opening lap than I think in the Truck Series race. All 20 cars still rolling, still pointed in a straight line, but Sean Campbell still scaring me, trying to break Bradley Holly out of the top 6. Bradley Holly gets a little bit loose over the bumps through turn 2.
Well, Lance Loomis commented in the chat and said Elliott got a drive-through on the start. They cleared it, and they're going to review it post-race. So add more drama.
Oh, great. Oh, great.
Let's add more drama to this, is that they're going to review it post-race. So we might have a situation now where it's all like what we saw in the truck race. And, I don't think this night's going to end, is it?
They're just trying to make sure we get every call wrong, Terry. I'm going to have nightmares tonight about having to come out on Friday night and say, oh, sorry, RaceSpo, you weren't actually the champion.
Well, this would be a good time to hit your song. Where in the world is the champion of the PRL? We don't know.
That'll be back tomorrow night. Don't worry.
Yeah, but Elliott White's going for the race lead here on Richard Regan Jr. He sailed it in there. I think he realizes that Abner's starting to make some moves, starting to save a little bit of his tires, but also having to know that he has to push. So, I mean, he's up to the 5th place position, and you got the battle for the lead, and there's Colton Lane, and, well, there's Jeff Evans right there as well.
And we know how good Elliott and Abner are on saving tires. They've been the class of the field all season long. They have been our 2 tire wizards, and nobody's been able to come close to him. Richard Regan Jr. has tried. Sean Campbell has tried. Bradley Holly has tried. But the tire wizards always rise to the head of the field. And Elliott White, is this a trade? Is he using up his short run speed to lose some of his wizardry?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, our eNASCAR college guy, he knows how to save it. He knows how to back it down a little bit. I think if you're Colton Lane and Jeff Evans at the moment, you're like, you know what? I really don't care about saving tires. And the same thing with Sean Campbell. They're not in the championship fight. Neither is Richard Regan Jr. You could come in here and just throw it all on the line, and it doesn't matter. And that's actually, Nick, I'll throw it to you for a second. Does it scare these drivers at all racing for the championship that they're competing against other people that are as equally fast as them?
Who's Nick?
I don't want to say it scares them. I know who he meant. I've been called worse.
I figured I would rough him up a little bit.
It's a nickname.
Yeah.
I'm already flustered enough here. I do see Sean Campbell's working his way to the front. He's driving hard already. It's going to be interesting on how this all plays out.
Here comes Mr. Sean Campbell. He's been one of the most aggressive drivers this season. I think we can say that. He will not give you more than you need in terms of racing room. He will give you just the right amount and absolutely nothing more. And Jeff Evans is the next driver to learn the Sean Campbell school of oval racing.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually looking back there at Nicholas Hunter in the 13th position, and then I was like, oh, we're talking to a Hunter. I'll call him Nick. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, I like the way Sean Campbell races. I think that a lot of people need to learn that style of I'm going to give you just enough, but I'm not going to overly compensate for you. I'm not going to make my entry to the corner or make my exit of the corner worse because I'm having to think about you down here. If a lot of people put that in their mind, that if they stopped thinking for everybody else and only thought for themselves, you would go a little bit further. I say that in official races to people, is that if you can just worry about you, stop telling people in a lobby, oh, this person's doing this. I don't care. I care about what I'm doing. I care about what people are doing around me, but I only care because of my selfish reasons. And that's the kind of mentality Sean has. He only thinks of, this is what I have, and this is what I can do in it. And that's what impresses me with him. And I think next season, if he races in the Xfinity Series again, we might be looking at Nicolas Cage, champion of the 26.
Unfortunately, I don't see him signed up. I think he's, with his busy schedule, Sean Campbell is legitimately one of the up-and-coming stars of sim racing on both iRacing and on other simulators. He does literally everything. That's why he's had to miss a couple of rounds this season, so I don't know if he'll have time to come back here this season. I certainly hope he will, because he's been a very exciting part of it, and he would be in championship contention tonight if he didn't have to miss a couple of rounds to do some GT3 stuff at Suzuka. So I don't know. Hopefully the time lines up, because Sean Campbell, he's always fun to watch, especially here when he's in an uncomfortable situation and he doesn't just get to run away from the field.
Well, and the fact that he's racing Richard Regan Jr., who is another driver that only gives you what you need. He's not going to drive up the racetrack to give you extra room on the bottom to let you pull away from him. He's not going to not push you hard in the corners. He's going to push it every single lap and make you work for it. It's two drivers right there that I wouldn't necessarily make mad, because they know how to wreck you without wrecking you.
Callum Ilott lookalike Richard Regan Jr. on the screen, still racing in VR, and it's a very, very pink mirror for him, because Jeff Evans is on the scene. His room is always something interesting to see. We've got all the people in the PRL. Of course, Austin has his beautiful background. Lou Christian has the world's shortest staircase. Richard Regan Jr. just keeps stacking stuff up back there. One of these days, it's all going to fall down.
Well, it's got the fishing poles back there, jugs of water.
There's a poster.
There's a poster. It looks like a shoebox, maybe a speaker. There's a lot going on in that room. Luckily, he has maybe he goes in the room with the VR on, so he doesn't have to see what's behind him, but we see it, Richard. It's all that matters that we see it.
It's still better than Trent Dinkel's room. He hasn't figured out how to decorate that room yet.
Yeah, it's just blank walls and a window. And it's like, come on, man, do something. I'm a little worried for Abner right here. I know we're 11 laps in the run. This is kind of when I thought he would start making his moves to the front. Abner's not really moving. He's come one position up since we started. He is kind of just there.
If there's one thing we've ever learned, it's never doubt the wizard, especially over the course of a long run. We're only 11 laps into this race. We still have quite a few laps to go until the end, and the wizard himself, the OG tire wizard Abner Acosta, still hanging out in P6. He'll be back here next season as well. I believe he'll be back in the Cup Series, and he'll also be back in the GT3 Series next season in the Sprint Series, which would be very exciting. He was doing some GT4 stuff this season on his return to the road side of the PRL. He got his first podium last week at the Nürburgring in the GT4 Series. So I look forward to seeing him in some GT3 action, where he'll be challenging the guy who won the GT3 Sprint Series Championship last night, Elliott White. It never ends.
It's the gift that keeps on giving in the PRL between the drivers that can fight in any discipline of racing. Something I need to learn. Obviously, I had to bow out of the IRO 4 series with health issues, and then traveling for work. It kind of got a little overwhelming where I couldn't necessarily put practice in, where I had such a busy schedule to even try to put a race in there somewhere. But I don't think I've done an official race in 2 weeks, so I get it. A lot of busyness around here, but he's fighting for dear life here as the battle for the lead just tensed up a little bit here as Sean Campbell, and he's tracked down Elliott White here. He's actually 2/10 faster.
Indeed he is, and you know who doesn't care about the championship conversation? Sean Campbell. He doesn't care what Elliott White has to do to win the championship. He just needs to win the race himself. He just needs to have his own Dallas Sullivan moment here and win this race all on his lonesome.
Not too sure how quiet it would be for Sean to win this race, because he's an out there kind of guy. He's very detailed about his answers, but he's very short when it comes to giving the details. He doesn't necessarily throw it out there. You got to kind of pull it out of him. As I said, Abner wasn't moving through the field. He's about to pass Jeff Evans for 4th. And we have team shirts coming, Austin. I don't know if you're getting your team shirt or not for Whataback with the Miracle Flow logo on it.
I couldn't be more excited. I'm going to have to start wearing it right underneath my watermelon shirt here.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to tell me that. But I'm very excited to get my shirt. I'll wear it on a broadcast.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. My shirt, my tie, I'm ready to go.
Abner Acosta's finally cleared Jeff Evans now, and I think, Terry, right when you started to doubt the Wizard, that was the thing that triggered everything in his mind. That was the signal for Abner to start getting moving, and Sean Campbell has just passed Elliott White. We've got a new race leader for the first time in 11 minutes.
Yeah, I think maybe Abner's listening in. He goes, "Oh, Terry's doubting me," and well, Sean Campbell's kind of on a roll here. He's got a rocket ship, and Elliott White's he's not letting him go. Lap time wise, that time by, Elliott was 3/10 slower, but that was also a draft lap there for Sean Campbell as well. So big difference going on as we see the battle for the lead in the top, where Sean did get that pass as he just sailed it in the corner. Oh, he kind of cleared himself there. Maybe that's what made Elliott White a little mad, made him race a little harder.
Aggression for Sean Campbell. But if Elliott White still finishes where he is, he does win the championship. So second place for him, that'll still be somewhat satisfying. And also there's a big statistic for Elliott White in the line here. If he wins this championship, he would be the first driver in the PRL, I believe, to win 2 championships in 2 series in the same season since Abner Acosta a couple of seasons ago when he won 2 NASCAR championships, and the first driver to win 2 championships in 2 different disciplines since Bradley Holly in season 1 of 2022 when he won in the trucks and the MX-5s.
So pretty much what you're saying is Elliott would be joining very elite company.
Yes.
In 2 of the best to do it, and the all-time wins leader. And I believe what's Abner 2nd or 3rd. So the all-time wins leader and the 2nd guy in all-time wins here in the PRL. That's good company to set yourself in. As Richard Regan Jr. gets by, he's starting to make his way back to the point. Set on the pole, just couldn't necessarily find his niche. Got passed early, and now maybe just saving his stuff is. Lap time wise, it's a 5, and then if you look at Abner, he's the fastest car on the field.
Yeah, Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta are 1st and 2nd in wins. Guess who's 3rd? Richard Regan Jr. So this is, I always say this, and it's not an exaggeration. This season in the PRL, in every single series, we have had the strongest fields ever in the PRL. The skill level just keeps rising and rising and rising as drivers themselves get better, as new great drivers join the fray. It keeps getting more and more difficult. It just keeps getting better and better.
You know what would make it better?
Austin Hunter in every series.
Austin Hunter in every series.
Nobody wants to see that. I struggle turning left. I don't want to add turning right to it.
Get ready to break out the Clio, Austin.
We're throwing it out there to you. You could potentially run the broom across all the series here in the PRL, Sunday through Thursday. We're throwing the gauntlet at you. What do we have to do from the Wednesday booth crew to make that happen?
I mean, Mark Kalen's already tried it, so you could follow him up.
We did see how well that went for him, but
That's true.
I'm gonna
That's
stick
true.
with the happy wife, happy life, and I'm going to keep to my Wednesdays here while I can.
I have to get more racing in because I have a certain thing that I can't tell anybody happening here soon, and I might want to back out just a little bit when it comes to doing things to put a little racing in there. But I think your mom asked in the chat if you found a tie that matched your shirt.
I found a tie. It does not match whatsoever, and it's actually even a zip-up tie if we're going there.
You didn't have to tell us, but we would have assumed. Like we assumed that Abner Acosta wasn't going to find his way up to the front. Now the battle for the lead is 3-10 from first to last.
Almost a little bit of contact between White and Acosta there. Abner is coming. The Wizard has activated. And right now, Abner Acosta is in championship winning position because Elliott White did not start from the pole position, and Abner Acosta only needs to be ahead of Elliott White by 1 point. No, I've just been immediately proven wrong in my head because Elliott White has led laps. So Abner needs to make this pass, and then he's back in championship position.
But you remember what happened here before, and it has happened throughout the season, where Elliott White and Abner Acosta have been on much different tire strategies. For teammates, they don't really come do the same thing. Where Elliott White's won his races, he's pitted a lap early, and then when Abner wins, he pits right on time, and he's just the dominant car. So there's an opportunity that we flip this as, I mean, the battle for the lead is 4 cars under a blanket, and these are the 4 best of the season. Are right here in your frame, and you don't have to go crazy to find a different frame. You just see them from the start to the finish.
Got quite a few wins in this top 4 here with Abner plus Regan alone. That's over 100 PRL wins. Elliott White has plenty of his own in the Cup Series and the Truck Series and this series and in the GT3 Series, and of course Sean Campbell, the only driver in PRL history to win all 10 races in a season. Sean Campbell did that in the GT4 series a couple of seasons ago. Then he won a couple in his weird carousel season in the GT3s. He's been all over the place. Everybody's been all over the place. And Abner Acosta has just put himself back in championship winning position.
Yeah, sitting third right here. Abner's looking at the battle for the lead as Richard Regan Jr., the 2 most aggressive drivers fighting for this lead, mind you, with Sean Campbell and Richard Regan Jr. As now Abner looks on the inside, is going to make it 3 wide for the lead. He's on the bottom. Hang on to her, boys.
Regan in the middle. Remember what happened at the start of this season? A rivalry between Regan and Campbell was born at Darlington, and it may not be over yet. Richard Regan Jr. hasn't been in the field since Darlington, except last week when he finally came back. So is this the Campbell versus Regan rivalry returning? It returned for about a corner, and Sean Campbell has lost the lead again.
Oh, it's not over.
Oh, it's not over.
Outside. He's there. He's still on the outside, still trying to fight, digging. See if he pinches on the door. He knows Abner's to the bottom. He slides down a little bit. He's still there as Elliott White's got a big old fight out of his mirror. And it could get ugly because Richard likes to slide right there in the corner. He's all the way on the door. He's close.
Yeah, Regan likes to go a little bit high. Sean Campbell loves to squeeze. What better combination of things for 2 drivers to fight each other on track?
This could be another Steve Loving, Reese Bogue situation right here. The same situation. You know, Steve likes to widen the corner. Bogue liked to pinch a little bit, and these are the 2 that aren't going to give an inch. Oh, there's contact. Yeah, I don't think they care.
I don't think they care. They might not care about each other either. Here we go into turn 1 once more. Regan on the bottom. Abner Acosta goes to the high top, trying to rip the wall to break this battle up. And Elliott White just sits here thinking, what the heck is going on? A little bit of contact again between Regan and Campbell. Acosta shows his nose again with a head of steam. He's going to send it 3 wide into turn 3.
Yeah, I don't think going to the outside is the place I'm going to go right here with these 2 fighting. One likes to slide up. Oh, and Abner just said, hey, pardon me, excuse me. And now Richard Regan Jr. is going to make it 3 wide. No,
White
He backed
in the
that
wall.
up. Elliott White's in the wall. He got loose in the corner. And now two other drivers that don't care about each other, Campbell and Acosta.
Abner made the top work last time around. Does he have the skills on the bottom as well? There he goes into one. Has the Tire Wizard just done Tire Wizard things again? I think he has. He's clear of Sean Campbell off of turn 2.
Yeah, it's clear now. He wasn't clear for a long time, but now the 56 is still in position to get second. Campbell's not going to give up. Richard's not going to give up. They're sitting around here, and Austin, you put yourself in this position. 3, I would say, hard-headed, drivers. Do you give an extra inch, depending on who's around you, or is this the type of racing that we're going to see all next season with most of them still in the field?
I typically give that extra inch, but there's a reason I'm not racing in the front every week like these guys are, and they're battling hard and making it look easy. This is some of the best racing I've seen out of this league in a very long time, and we always have some of the best racing in all of iRacing.
Bad news for fans of Doyle Lawrence. He's currently on pit road with 5 minutes of repairs under the docket right now, and still more to come. I think he may have been involved in a little bit of an oopsie with Ryan Traver and Thomas Sink, because they're both off the pace as well. Doyle, he was one of those drivers who was at the Bradley Holly barbecue last week, I believe. So he's the first one of that little group to get eliminated here tonight, and he's hoping that his luck turns around here next season, because his season 1 is already over.
Yeah, and for Doyle, he just hasn't had luck. He gets caught up in stuff and swept up in some of his own messes, but most of the time it's everybody else's mess. But I mean, I'm surprised if you go back a little further in the field to 6th with Bradley Holly, as he's not up here contending. He's been off. It's weird to say with the all-time wins leader that he's been off, but we haven't seen the 184 do what we used to see him doing. We're used to seeing him battling for the lead throughout the entire race. We've kind of seen him 4th, 5th, 6th all season long. And you talk about the strength and competition of the PRL racing. It definitely has over the 2 seasons we've done so far. And maybe we'll get Bradley Holly back on his winning ways next season.
All streaks must come to an end eventually, but for as much as Brad always tells me he's not thinking about the stats, he doesn't care. I believe him, but it still sucks to have your Lewis Hamilton season. It sucks to have your streak broken.
Well, it kind of reminds me of Jimmy Johnson back in the day. He went on the streak, and then past couple seasons he hadn't been there. But Austin, you can kind of allude to a little bit that you know Bradley Holly better than most of us. Do you think he thinks about these stats or no?
I think he does. I mean, you're crazy if you're telling me that you're not thinking about it. Every driver.
Let's go throw him under the bus. Thank you.
I've known Bradley here for going on 17 years, and he definitely cares about the stats, whether he wants to admit it or not.
17. That's so. When you met Brad, Sean Campbell was 1.
I guess so.
Wow, you just throw your age up there.
Yep.
Just throw your age at us.
I've known Nick for 32 years, so I don't know how that age is.
Wow. Let's see. So I'm 28 now. I was 11. Way to go.
But you say that Bradley may not have speed. If you look, everybody within the top 10 the last lap was within 2/10 of each other. I think one yellow could really change this whole race and bunch the field back up. But they're all really close to each other right now.
And here comes Elliott White on Sean Campbell, who's a little bit older than 1 year old now, but still not up there with the rest of the field. White joins his teammate Abner Acosta in the top 2. He's got to get moving, though. He's got to make that move for the lead to win this championship, because he's at a deficit. His only job is to beat his teammate, but his teammate seems to have done a better job of saving the tire.
Yeah, I think pit stops are coming up, though. I mean, we're 33 laps into this race. I don't see us getting a caution. I know this is going to sound crazy, but with the field as spread out as they are, I don't see the yellow flag waving here. I think we're going to go all 40 minutes, 100% green. I mean, we're 33 laps in. We should be able to touch 70 by the time we actively get going, because we're about to hit lap 35 and we'll be almost halfway here, as our timing screen tells us 70 laps. So you think you would want to pit somewhere in this middle portion, which would come up about 35, 36, 37, and then run it the rest of the way.
I think we just need to call RaceSpoTV and Steve Loving to spice things up.
I mean, I'm down for it. Or Paul, what's it? Paul Crumry? Paul Crumry, and which that just it didn't even sound good. It didn't roll off the tongue like.
I mean, it makes me hungry. A crumb of rye? I could go for that.
I could go for some rye. I mean, I've got another race to call after this, and I'm not going to have time to eat. I'm not even going to be able to change out of my suit. I'm still going to have a tie on, but I'd go for some rye. Maybe we should call him and Patrick Cowgill and say, hey, you just want to join in this race like halfway through? As something happened with Brandon Walter.
Mr. Sausage and Peppers, I think he's been interneted, unfortunately. He's had some issues with his ping over the past couple of weeks. Unfortunately, Mr. Sausage and Peppers, again, he's going to be stewing. I think this happened on Sunday night, too.
I think it happened last week as well. Got a little bit of issue
Jeff
there.
Evans, Mark Kalin. Here we go. Danny Cervantes is in as well. He's been doing a great job in the silence, driving his way from the back of the field into the top 10. Doug Evans is in as well. It is a synchronized, concerted effort for Whataback. Pit cycle has kicked off.
Kind of surprised, though, that Bradley didn't pit. Adam Zemke didn't pit either. I kind of would have imagined that outside that top 5 range, we've just seen a lot of movement. We saw 4 of them come in, but we didn't see anybody else kind of break it. As right now, Abner.
Here comes Abner.
First, he's going to break. Oh, Abner
loses it. Oh, did he get it slowed down? But he's going to loop it completely. He eventually gets it pointed straight, but that is going to lose him the lead to his teammate Elliott White. And did he get a speeding penalty? That's the critical question.
I think there'd be an Austin question. Austin, did he catch a speeding penalty there for the 5?
I'm not seeing any black flags for the 5 here on my screen.
All right, so it's better than it could have been, but he has lost track position to his teammate. He's lost track position to Elliott White. He lives to see another day, but he's just put his teammate in championship position.
He sent that thing in there, too. This is when you're racing for the championship, and that was a really good job of not wrecking your teammate, because a lot of people don't have the common sense to not do that. You know, they'll roll off the brake, they'll let it catch, they'll start rolling a little harder, and he didn't. He braked it, he made sure it stopped, he downshifted twice. He got it stopped enough to where if it wanted to roll forward, he could keep it backwards to not hit his teammate, because you would rather one of your guys win it than none of you win it.
Sean Campbell's in, Charles Sumner, Nicholas Hunter. Here's the blend with just 1 lap of undercut. Jeff Evans has actually passed Richard Regan Jr. Oh no, Richard Regan Jr. he's still out there. He's going to come in this time around, I believe. Yep, here comes Richard down pit road. One of the last drivers to do so, going long on this stint. He's going to have some tire later on in the run compared to the rest of the field. He finally brings it in, and that should put Elliott White in the overall race lead over Jeff Evans, who's going to pass Sean Campbell here.
Yeah, he's going to have a 2-second lead. He gained some time. They were about 5 seconds back. They gained 3 seconds, so it puts them right there in that position. It makes Sean Campbell work a little harder to get back around you. That's the awesome part about the undercut here. You gain a couple spots. Kalin jumped up 2 spots. Cervantes jumped up 3 spots. And also, if you look all the way back there at Abner, that's a 5-second gap that he's kind of lost here with the spin on the pit lane. He's way back in the distance here.
That's going to be very, very difficult for Abner Acosta to bring down. Colton Lane is down the lane. Still waiting for Thomas Sink and Ryan Travert. They're the last 2. We're just trying to extend this for as long as possible, probably hoping for a caution. Here comes Richard Regan Jr. back out on track behind Abner Acosta. He's going to have some tire life later on in the run, but he's only going to have 3 lap fresher tires than the oldest runners in the field. and he has a good 5 seconds to make up to get up to Elliott White again.
Yeah, I think right at this moment, if you're Thomas Sink and Ryan Traver, you're hoping that these drivers that are blending on the racetrack create that caution. You could potentially see it. I mean, you've got a lot of hard chargers that hadn't necessarily been up here. I mean, Danny Cervantes started from the rear based off of it. We know he's fast. We know he's good here. He set on the pole in the last one, and he had a couple hundredths on the field. We'll see what him and Sean Campbell do right here going to the corner.
25, 26, make it 26, 25. Sean Campbell up into the top 6, will be the top 5 as Ryan Traver brings it down pit road. Can Sean Campbell win this race, or does he have too big of a gap as well? Elliott White has a 1.5 second gap over Jeff Evans, basically. 1.2, I should say. Mark Kalin up ahead. Sean Campbell another almost full second behind. This pit cycle has absolutely stratified this field. It was already a race of tire strategy, and it's become even more so with these big gaps.
Well, and the tire wear here, Austin, we've seen it kind of be a big deal across both races. How big of a challenge is it going to be for one of these drivers, like an Abner, a Bradley, maybe even a Sean Campbell, to work their way all the way up there 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds away from the race lead to have a balance of burning their tires up versus actually being able to conserve and still have enough time to go win it?
I think somebody like Abner's got to go right now, same as Bradley Holly. We noticed in that last run there, maybe about 20, 25 laps in, the tires really leveled out. Lap times kind of stabilized at the same spot. So I think if you're going to make any time up, you've got to do it here within the next maybe 5-10 minutes.
Everything is as it appears now. Everybody has finished their pit cycle. Everything is legit now. Elliott White is your race leader over Jeff Evans, Mark Kalin, Sean Campbell, and the literal last starter, Danny Cervantes, from 20th to 5th. Now it is crunch time. The last 20 minutes of the season. Abner Acosta has 4 seconds to make up in 20 minutes. Sean Campbell has 1.5 seconds to make up in 20 minutes. Can any of them do it?
Well, I think passing Mark right here. Austin will probably get a good laugh when I say this, but Mark gets a little bit of a black eye from a lot of people when it comes to how he races certain people. He doesn't give you the room that you necessarily see. He drives like Sean Campbell does, where you get the room that I think you're deserved and I think that you're owed. It stinks because I think that's a really good way of doing it. I think that's the difference that sets you between winning races and finishing 20th, is you can only care about you. And Mark does that. He races his teammates as hard as he races non-teammates. I think he realized, though, that Sean Campbell was a little faster there. No sense in holding him up. Let him go. Battle where you're at. Live to fight another day. Hope that he goes up there and has an issue with Elliott White trying to get him down. But, yeah, there's Mark right there. There's little Bubbles, the wall sponge.
Going for a little shake-a-shake-a, little readjustment. Also, Richard Regan Jr. has passed Abner Acosta, so Acosta's fall continues. As Mark Kalin looks forward, unfortunately for Mark, those Nicolas Cage faces are getting smaller and smaller and smaller as Sean Campbell tries to run away.
He keeps catching the apron right there. It's a bit of a weird spot to catch the apron. I mean, he's going to the corner and he's trying to pinch that white line, but for some reason he's just kind of straddling it a little too hard. I mean, you can do it a little bit, but you can't allow the tire to creep over that white line unless you're actually on the front straight right here, where you'll see people dip down there on the Auto Club paint. But Jeff's not going to he's not rolling over here.
We need Sean Campbell back on the Zoom. We haven't seen him in weeks. Maybe his room is too dirty. Maybe he's starting to get embarrassed. Maybe the bowls have gotten into his head.
I still want to know how many of them are cereal bowls. I had a cereal bowl back there earlier today. I was back here trying to rearrange. I went to Walmart, and apparently I'm such a good salesman, I sold 2 people a desk that didn't even need a desk. They had a sale on desks.
They had a sale on desks.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they sold desks at Walmart.
Yeah, I bought one for $63. It was $114 on Amazon.
Jim Westerfield has been kicked out of the top 10 by Colton Lane. Thomas Sink is a lap down. It's all Wadaback drivers and all sorts of assortments of laps, but Colton Lane and Jim Westerfield are gonna keep trying to figure this thing out, and I have been thinking in my head for this whole anecdote how to fit the word desk into this, and I can't do it.
Yeah, it's a desk of a job. It's hard to get it going. But like I said, the desk will be put in the room probably tomorrow. I got lazy today, but I bought the desk. It was a real challenge. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of missed the wife. She's chilling in Atlanta, so I'll put the desk in here later.
Richard Regan Jr. to the inside of Bradley Holly, and that's going to be a fairly easy move for the two guys who've definitely been rivals themselves in the past, but Richard makes the move. He's going to steal some draft from Brad's teammate Danny Cervantes for good measure, and now we start to see the Richard charge forward. Remember, he's on younger tires than anybody in this lead pack, coming in 3 laps later than the likes of Jeff Evans. Is this Richard Regan Jr.'s drive forward? We know he's got the tires to do it. He's just got quite a bit of distance to make up and quite a few cars to pass.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, he's got 9 laps on the tires, and that's 3 laps. That's going to be different than the rest of the field, but is that going to make that big of a difference when he starts to get to the back bumper of these drivers? I mean, he's 2 seconds behind the race lead. So I mean, he's going to have to drive like crazy to get there, and we're not pitting again. I don't see us pitting again in the next 14 minutes unless a caution comes out. So, and unless we see the yellow flag, I think this is. I don't see Richard getting up there and fighting for this win.
Mark Kalin, Bubbles the wall sponge, has done it again with Richard Regan Jr. behind him. Mark Kalin takes a bite out of the wall, just like Scruff McGruff took a bite out of crime, and here comes Danny Cervantes to take advantage as well.
That was a good one. That kind of caught me off guard. But now what does he do? Does he back out for his teammates here, or does he let him go? How much damage did he get to that right side when he pancaked it? Little side draft from Bradley Holly.
So can Mark Kalin learn the ways of the wall this time around off of turn 4. He gives himself a little bit of a wider berth this time, but he's also not got the momentum anymore. He's not got the straight line speed either with that damage, and his teammate Bradley Holly gets to the bottom, gets to the inside into turn 1. Can Mark Kalin hang on for much longer? Looks like nope.
Yeah, I see that damage there on the right side. He's got the 28 behind him. That's Ryan Traver. He's 1 lap down. He lost that lap by staying out, pushing it a little too far on the tire strategy. But he was banking for the caution to not go a lap down. I think he was going to go a lap down regardless. But now there's the 56 passing Jeff Evans for 3rd. He's making some headway here. He's about 3/100ths faster than Sean Campbell. He's a full 10th faster than Elliott White. But I'm not too sure. I think Sean Campbell might be the one here in the catbird seat to potentially go up here and get this win. As that time it was a full 10th for Richard. He's the fastest driver on the track.
If Richard Regan Jr. dumps Elliott White out of the lead of this race, I don't mean that literally. I just mean deposes him from the lead of the race. That suddenly makes things more interesting because Abner Acosta is pretty clearly faster, or at least will be faster over the course of the long run than Holly, Cervantes, and Evans in front of him. If White falls to 3rd, if Abner moves his way up into 4th, these two could find each other on track again.
They technically could find themselves back up here at the racetrack together and putting themselves in a different ballpark. I mean, I don't want to count this out, but right at the moment, you see him sitting in 7th, 2.8 seconds back. He's going pretty slow compared to his standards.
Faster than Elliott, though.
Yeah, but being faster is one thing. You have 3 seconds to make up. You know, are you going to make up 3 seconds here? We're gonna come down. We now have technically 71 laps. that'll be left here. Abner keeps getting stuck behind traffic like this right here. I mean, you've got Bradley Holly, Danny Cervantes fighting side by side. You don't want to put yourself in a position to drive in there. That mistake on pit road might have been the mistake that cost him the championship.
Here goes Abner up to the top again, trying to build up a run as Holly and Cervantes fight. He's going to get the run, but he's going to have to send it 3 wide to turn 3, but Holly blocks all the way to the bottom of the track. Acosta's forced into the middle. He's forced behind the two of them. He's going to have to find his way through the middle in 3 and 4. Bradley Holly defending for his life for P5 as Abner does find the middle off of 4.
Yeah, now 3 wide, and that's... I'm not sure what to think about that move for Bradley Holly there. I didn't see why the block was necessary 100%. I don't think he would have had the spot. He scrubbed off tire speed. Danny's blocking hard, too. I think at the moment you kind of got to realize who you're racing. You're racing the guy that's racing for a championship. I know you don't want to lose the spot, but at that moment you're just like, hey, I don't want to be a part of this championship race. That just slowed him up by another 0.2. It was 2.6 when they were racing side by side. It's 2.8 now 2.9. That's jump up to 3 seconds even because he's kind of got stuck here in this box. I'm not saying let him go, but, kind of race him just a little different.
Here comes Abner. He's got to the inside of Danny Cervantes, and just like he always does, once he's got to the inside into turn 1, you let Abner get by, and you're probably saying bye-bye to him. He's going to run away. Off of turn 4, Cervantes has to check up to not get into the wall, and Abner Acosta takes 5th place. Next up is going to be another Whataback driver, Jeff Evans, and then he's got nobody between him and the lead pack. Just quite a bit of open track.
We're doing math again, right? Because Abner came in 1 point ahead, right?
Correct.
So
but it went dead even when Elliott White led his first lap.
Yep.
But Elliott White may have led the most laps in this race. I don't know if it's been him or Sean or Richard. It's one of them 3. I think it's going to be Elliott based on how many laps he's led in the pit cycle. So that's going to be 2 points to Elliott White's camp, or 1 point rather to Elliott White's camp, plus another point for leading the most laps. It's so complicated.
Well, so it was when Elliott led a lap, moved us to 0. Elliott leads the most laps, moves in +1.
Yes.
And then at the moment we need Abner. Abner has to win the race.
Abner has to beat Elliott by 1 position, because if he does, it goes to a tie. Then it goes back to count back, and Abner has 2 second-place finishes to Elliott's 1 second-place finish. So Abner would win on count back, unless, of course, Elliott finishes second somehow. But if he does that and Abner beats him, Abner gets the points either way because you get 5 bonus points for winning the race. So the easiest way to say this is Abner should just beat Elliott and worry about everything else later.
Well, I think he might get his wish here in a second with what he's looking up ahead at. He's starting to chunk into this gap. What he's going to need right at this moment is for Sean Campbell to get to the inside. A caution would be nice if you're Abner, because you get on the same tire strategy as everybody else. You kind of just relax a little bit. Your mistake becomes not a big mistake anymore. It's heads up at that moment. You need Sean Campbell to race Elliott White hard. You need Richard Regan Jr., who has now caught them, to race them hard. Richard is still the fastest driver on the field at the moment. Him and Abner are putting down blistering lap times. They're both 42.7s.
And Abner Acosta has caught Jeff Evans. He's cleared Jeff Evans, and he is up into 4th place now. As the battle... Oh, not quite, actually. Jeff Evans has fought back. They're still side by side for P4. Abner's having a little bit tougher of a fight than he thought. Bradley Holly went for the huge block on him, and now Jeff Evans is desperately trying to make Abner Acosta's life as difficult as possible. The pain is finally over. Abner's officially up into 4th now.
He still lost a ton of time. He's going to need quite a bit. He's not really catching the draft. He needs them to race up front. He desperately needs Sean Campbell and Richard Regan Jr. to put a fight to the 27, to go side by side somewhere to make this a thing.
Campbell's getting closer and closer and closer. That's the first time the ticker on the side has read 1 instead of 2 instead of 3. Campbell is the closest he's been. Can he get a run off of 2 here to actually get a shot at Elliott White for the first time? They're all running similar lines. White, Campbell, and Regan are all basically running this track in the same way. It's just a difference in tire life. It's like a step here. Elliott White is on 24 lap old tires. Sean Campbell's on 23 lap old tires. Richard Regan Jr. is on 22 lap old tires.
This right here is where the 22 lap old tires might come play dividends, because it's a 42.9 flat for Richard, a 42.978 for Sean, and a 43.057 for the race leader Elliott White. So can Sean make the move? I see Sean playing defense a lot.
Oh, here comes Regan.
Here he comes. It's for the lead. He's going to go from 3rd to 1st.
Richard Regan Jr. tries to go for the 2-for-1 special, has a little bit of a bobble off of turn 2, though. And that's going to stunt his momentum down the back straight. Sean Campbell gets a little bit of help to the outside, pushes Elliott White back to the lead, but can't get clear of Regan into 3. Richard still has the bottom, and Regan and Campbell fight side by side as Elliott White gets a little bit of comfort for a moment.
The only person this is helping is Abner Acosta, because now he sees the gap kind of subside just a little bit. It's just stabilized itself at 2 seconds. He needs the race leader of Elliott White to have the 56 painted on his door and not leave it. You know, bring that gap to him just a little bit to let him come up here and fight for it. Tear the tires off of it as, the 26 goes for the crossover.
As these two continue to fight, these two are the biggest helpers for Elliott White right now. I know both of these guys probably think they have the strongest chance of beating Elliott White to this win, but they're too busy fighting with each other, and they're letting Elliott White just run away.
Yeah,
Regan's clear, though, off of 4.
Yeah, he's clear there. He's clear now, but I think once they get clear of each other, they are the 2 fastest cars. I mean, other than if you go back to Abner, who's, in, no traffic. He's just doing his own thing back there. I don't see Elliott necessarily winning this race. Richard's very strong. I mean, he's fast. He's been consistently faster. Even battling with Sean Campbell, he still put a 43 flat down. That's pretty wild at the fact they were side drafting each other that hard. But now with 4 minutes to go, the 56 kind of put himself in a position where he's got 2 lap fresher tires. That means something at this moment because he's there, and it's 110.
Sean Campbell tried to rip the top through 3 and 4 there. Didn't quite work for him. He's going to try and do it again through 1 and 2. He is not leaving any margin for error. For a guy who leaves only the amount of room he needs to leave for other drivers, he's taking the same mindset to the wall.
He wants to win this race. I mean, you got 3 drivers under a blanket that still has an opportunity to win this race. You're going to send it at all cost. I mean, he's absolutely ripping that thing, and I'm sure it's not handling the best either right now. He's probably sideways all over the racetrack. This is fun to see. This is what racing's about right here.
And Acosta isn't closing right now. Acosta is basically stagnant. He's running the same lap times as these top 3. He needs them to start fighting again. He needs Richard Regan Jr. to get a shot at the race leader to start kicking things off. Sean Campbell's trying to build the momentum again through the top line, through 1 and 2. Doesn't work for him. Richard Regan Jr. has a decent run, though, but it's just not good enough to get to the inside of White.
Yeah, he hasn't figured out how to get to the inside yet. I think he's looked in his mirror quite a bit through the VR headset at Sean Campbell. He doesn't know where he's going to go.
Oh, this is a good run.
He's got it. He's got a chance here. Elliott blocks to the bottom. Sean kind of gave him a little tap with the air. Didn't necessarily give him a bump. Here comes Richard. He's to the bottom. He's there.
Richard Regan Jr., another attempt at the lead to the inside of Elliott White, and it is no competition. White's tires are shot. Richard Regan Jr. takes the lead.
The gap didn't go down back there to 4th either. It stabilized at 2. This might hurt quite a bit as Sean gets around.
But did you see that?
Here.
White lifted out of that battle with Sean Campbell. He knows he can't fight with Campbell because right now he's in championship winning position. He doesn't need to fight with Sean Campbell. He can ride in third and win this championship. If he fights with Sean Campbell, he slows himself down and lets Abner into the fray, but he has backed out of that. He's going to run his own laps. And right now, unless Abner can make up 1.8 seconds in the next minute and a half, Elliott White wins the championship.
Yeah, it's where we're sitting. I mean, Elliott White's done a great job all season long. I don't want to jinx him here, but, you know, the battle for the lead's not over. The battle for the win's not over. Elliott's still going for it. Sean Campbell's still going for it. But Elliott White's done everything so far, and it took one mistake by the 5 of Abner Acosta to cost it.
And Elliott is still so fast that he's put himself back into the fray for second place. 2 laps to go at the line. Elliott White has gone back to fighting with Sean Campbell for third place. Campbell basically running the middle now, finding a new lane in the track. Elliott White to the inside, all the way down to the seam. He's back to fighting with Sean Campbell. He's leaving him no room. I think White's realized that he's got enough of a gap back to Acosta that he can get aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't necessarily get aggressive here. There's no chance you're going to get caught from behind unless you pull a Reespoke and a Steve Loving and wreck each other. Well, why not? I mean, go for the win. Go for the chance to end it with a positive note, as Sean Campbell has got one more last-ditch effort to win this race.
White flag in the air for Richard Regan Jr. It's the last 2 miles of the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series season. It's a return to this car. For so long, it was the PRL NASCAR Truck Series on Wednesdays and nothing else. But they decided, you know what, there's so much interest that we need to split up these series. We're going to keep the Truck Series alive as an undercard series, as a developmental series, and we're going to bring back the ever-popular Xfinity cars to give our pros. And they have put on a show for 10 weeks this season. Richard Regan Jr. was part-time. He had other commitments on Wednesday nights, but he won the first race of the season. He's going to win the last race of the season, too. Richard Regan Jr. wins at Fontana, but critically coming home in third, but beating his teammate by 1 point in the championship. Elliott White has done it. He's won the championship in 2022 Season 1.
And I can't repeat what Richard Regan Jr. said, but it had LFG written all over it. Goes out there and gets a win, comes back. 3 races he ran this season. Was here fighting when he could be, and gets a win. And Elliott White put a whole season together. It came in here with a 1-point disadvantage, gets third, and beats his teammate by 1 by a mistake that happened on pit road.
The 2023 Season 1 champion in the GT3 Sprint Series yesterday night, and now the 2023 Season 1 champion in the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series. That's 2 championships in a row for Elliott White. But right now, Richard Regan Jr. gets the sunshine. Like I said, he's had other commitments on Wednesday nights, but he's finally had a couple of open weeks over the past couple of weeks, and he has shown that when he's a full season competitor and he doesn't have bad luck like he has in the Cup Series on Sunday nights, you can never count him out for race wins, and you can never count him out for championships.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be too surprised if potentially we see if Richard Regan Jr. comes in the season, comes next season for Season 2, if we're not looking at the Season 2 2023 champion right here.
He is signed up for the moment, so hopefully he will actually be back with us next season. But the 2022 Season 4 champion in the Truck Series is victorious here tonight over Sean Campbell, over your Xfinity Series champion, Elliott White. Abner Acosta comes home just short. The pit cycle did not work out for him. That one mistake on pit road, losing the rear, that's what lost him the championship. Jeff Evans rounded out the top 5. Danny Cervantes was 6th from the back of the field. And Bradley Holly, the streak has come to an end for the first time. He has not won a race on Wednesday nights. Mark Kalin hit the wall very hard, still finished 8th though. And Adam Zemke and Colton Lane rounded out the top 10. Then P11 went to Jim Westerfield. Our favorite admin, Charles Sumner, finished 12th. Doug Evans, Jose the Funky Cole Medina, Nick Hunter, and Stacy Hunter rounded out the lead lappers. Ryan Traver and Thomas Sink both had trouble of their own. They went one lap down. Mr. Sausage and Peppers, Brandon Walter, had some internet troubles, and Doyle Lawrence had a mystery crash of his own. Oh my goodness, what a night. But first and foremost, guess who we get to talk to? It's not Richard Regan Jr. It is our 2023 Season 1 PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series champion and the GT3 Sprint Series champion, for that matter, Elliott White.
Yeah, well, we have to wait a second. I may have a drive-through penalty for jumping the start at the very beginning of the race, so not for sure, but hopefully that's not a penalty. We'll find out.
I did forget that happened. That was so long ago. I was so happy that we had easy math to do, but that is another wrinkle here. I have to imagine that because they cleared it, they won't put the penalty back in. But for now, mathematically, I think you've done everything you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty bad, to be honest. I mean, I qualified well, which saved me, I think, and Abner didn't qualify well in the second session, so. Was kind of saved by that. I must have hit the wall hard enough to get damaged because I had only 6 seconds or something. But I don't know. I felt pretty bad the entire race, but worked out. I got lucky that Abner tried to push on pit road and made the mistake.
So that's one championship in the GT3s yesterday night. It's probably another championship tonight. We know you'll be back for the Xfinity series next season, but what's coming up next season? Are you going to do GT3 again as well?
I think so. Well, I'm fairly confident I will. Probably both the same, GT3 and Xfinity. I feel pretty good driving both of these series, so hopefully there will be decent participation again. I know it's kind of hard to get people to run the higher IR oval stuff, but hopefully it turns out well.
Well, congrats, Elliott, on a third place run at the very least and a probable championship, but hopefully when everything is resolved, we'll congratulate you for real on Friday.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for sticking around.
Always a pleasure. Elliott White, your probable champion, as probable as Reese Bogue was. I think we're going to be right. I think they're going to keep it, but I'm not counting my chickens here. We do have our winner of the actual race here as well. Richard Regan Jr. is here, and he's with Terry.
Richard, you get the win, man. And I think this is the second time I've talked to a winner all season long. And I can't repeat what you said, but LFG, that Regan, that machine looked good. That Toyota was flying, came from the back, up there, got to the front, little pit strategy. You run it full time next season? Because I picked you to win the championship.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to be there full time next season. Hopefully my work schedule can accommodate that. But man, I'm pumped. That's probably the most pumped I've been for a win. The competition in this Xfinity series is through the roof. I mean, so much talent, and I mean, I've been on a struggle bus lately, over on the Cup side. So to be able to come in here and not get any practice in and learn in every lap and be fast and run them down at the end is just awesome to me, and big confidence booster for me.
Well, Reese wins the championship in the last one.
Probably.
Allegedly won the championship. You allegedly would have been a championship favorite over here. What's next for you? How many of you running next season?
Just gonna be running Cup and Xfinity. Reese is getting moved up from the trucks, so me and him will be running Xfinity, which is it's like a catch-22. Like, it's nice that he gets to move up and see what he's got over here, but gonna be losing my spotter. So awesome job to Reese tonight. Some unfortunate events in the truck race for him, but awesome job on strategy. I don't know if any of y'all remember from the truck series last season when we were running, but I pretty much had the same strategy. Wait 2 laps and then come in and have the tires at the end. And that last run, I really figured something out with that, with the right rear and getting it to hook up pretty good center off. And yeah, I mean, awesome job to Reese all year in the truck and all year spotting me. Yeah, we'll see what next year brings.
Well, that's congratulations on your win here tonight. We'll push it down to Abner. We kind of went over our time by quite a bit, but congrats, Richard Riga Jr. We'll see you next season.
Thanks. Real quick, let me give a shout out to my sponsors, Multiple Sclerosis Society, everyone at Dirty South Racing, Neonism. You need a paint, go to facebook.com/neonism, Jay-Z Photography, VR Cover, Oculus Glasses, everyone at the PRL, and you guys at RaceSpot.
Love it. Sponsor plugs, and I didn't have to ask. Joey Tebben, you're standing by with Abner Acosta after a good interview with Richard Riga Jr.
Here we are one more time, Abner. We still have to wait for a review of the initial start, I think, for Elliott, but I think, unfortunately, it seems like we've come up just short here. One more position. How do you feel after that mistake coming onto pit road?
It sucks, man. At no point during that pit stop I felt like I was in danger of anything. I guess unconsciously I got a little greedy, trying to gap a little more maybe than I should have. Yeah, no, it definitely sucks. And then being back like 4.8 seconds when you come out of the pits, it's not what you want to see here. Kind of got close, but once I got to like 2 seconds or so, I had nothing left in the tires. But yeah, I mean, congrats to Elliott if everything goes right there. I mean, he definitely deserves it. I mean, and I don't know if he's the first one to do winning a road and oval in the same season, but that's pretty huge. He's really good in anything he gets into.
He's the second, actually, because that pesky Bradley Holly, he won a truck championship and an MX5 championship in the same season, but he joins you as well for winning 2 championships in the same season. So some esteemed company. Congrats on it was still a great season for you, Abner. A great season for Precision Racing Esports as the team's champions as well. And we'll see you next season, Tire Wizard.
Yeah, we'll see you next season. Hopefully I get 1 more position in both leagues. Or 3, in all 3 leagues. So we'll see what happens.
1 more position to add to the trophy case. Abner Acosta, second in the championship. We think, theoretically. Yeah, that's about it. That's all we can say here because we wait now. Reese Bogue wins the championship in quotation marks in the trucks. Elliott White wins the championship in quotation marks in the Xfinity series. And we hope that in a couple of days' time, we'll know both of those things for real and we won't be dead wrong on this broadcast. But what we do know for sure is Dallas Sullivan and Richard Riga Jr. put on 2 spectacular wins to end the season. It's the end of yet another great season, Terry. The PRL on Wednesdays never disappoints. And now we wait for 3 more weeks to go do it again. We've got 3 more championship finale nights coming up as well. We've got the Thursday night championship finale in the IRO 4s and F3s coming up tomorrow. Then on Sunday, it's the PRL NASCAR Cup Series finale. And last but not least, on Monday, it'll be the PRL, GR86, and GT4 championship finales. We hope you'll join us for any and all of those. We thank you for joining us here on Wednesday nights this season. But I've been Joey Tebben. Terry Radford has been Terry Radford. Austin Hunter has been joining us tonight as well. Our producer has been Hugo Luis. Until we see you next time, so long.